All right, perfect. So as you all know, we're gonna have a guest here today shortly. His name is Tory. He's gonna talk about a lot about crypto and how the retail investors in crypto they really got screwed over with these pumps and dumps on lately on crypto and how the money is moving in the elite. I think it's gonna be pretty awesome. Tory Lanes, yes. All right, perfect. Looks like pound yen reached a consolidation area here to the top side. Right here. Awesome. Had a buy from around what was it? Around 154, 440, 450. So we'll see if price comes up and then does some sort of a consolidation to continue moving bullish or not. That's the only thing I'm going to be looking at, but for the most part, we're going to be involved in the discussion we're going to have here soon. Wow, look at this. Gold looks like it should also continue moving bullish once we stay above 1880. Yeah, we have a lot of room till 1882, 1883 on gold too. Tory Lanes special guest. Tory Lanes. No, this is Tory, not Tory. Difference of a character alphabet over there. Let's see here. Looking on the 1 hour time frame. All right, so let's just do some fresh analysis here. Okay, let's see. So we're gonna do some fresh analysis here on pound yen. So looking at the daily time frame, we were correct about price moving bullish yesterday from the Asian session. Looking at the 4 hour, looks like the only move we made up was during the pre-New York as we're moving up over here. We broke above this resistance here as well. So right now we're moving into a consolidation area, some sort of a rejection area, all the way up here at 154.720. So we also broke above a resistance right here at the bottom, 154.420. So I think it's going to be a better idea to kind of like wait for price to do some sort of a retracement, some sort of a support creation, and then to continue the momentum bullish. I think that's going to be the plan someone should follow today if you're trying to trade pound yen. Or, of course, wait for price to break above 154.700. But I think if you do come above, 154.700, I think it's going to be much worthwhile for price to really break above 154.800 because above this area we have clean traffic to the left hand side. And then we can start to have discussions around, 155 or even 155.200. So I think that's going to be much better. To either wait for some sort of a retracement to re-enter and continue bullish or to wait for price to break above 154.800. Yep. Yeah, I think it's going to be much better. How much did you grow your account to before you took your first withdrawal? I don't know. I don't remember. I think my first withdrawal was when my account was at 12,000. My first big withdrawal that was at when my account was at 12,000. I think I withdrew 4,000 at that point. It's like long time ago. Long time ago. All right, let's take a look at GA. We're getting some requests here. Oh, wow. Okay. GA broke above this resistance we had. Okay. Broke above this resistance. We kind of like came down, sort of doing like a retest at this point. I think it's pretty good because, I mean, if a 30-minute candle can close bullish, right? Or this 30-minute candle can break the high of the previous candle, I think there's a very high possibility for price to continue bullish. Yeah, I think that looks pretty nice over here. The way the candles are forming at this point. Did you take this trade on GJ? My first trade since joining the Forex family. Yes. I actually took the trade down over here where your blue line is. That's where I took the trade for price to move up. I think there was a little bit of experience involved there too. So you can see right here. Moved to the 15-minute time frame. Took the trade right here. As we broke up of this high, anticipated volume to continue driving price up, and eventually that's basically what happened at that point. Let's do this. That gold trade you took yesterday, all the rejections to the downside from previous candles, did that give you the confidence even though candle didn't wick down? Yes. So yesterday's gold trade, I think it was a buy. Yeah, it was a buy on gold. And you're right, we had a lot of, there were rejection wicks. I'm trying to find where that was. Yeah, right down over here. Rejection wicks. I mean, I explained it on my story too, and that's the exact thing I'm going to repeat again. If there were rejection wicks, clean traffic to the left hand side, you measured this range, it was like like a 37, 38 pip range. So enough range to get some 15, 20 pips out of it. How many years did you work in oil field as roughneck? I believe roughneck is one of the hard work. Yeah, I think I did around like a year, 1 year. Okay, let's take a look over here. GA, yeah, GA looks good. If the only reason it's gonna look amazing if you have this candle breaking the high of the previous one. That's when you can have a pretty good impulse entry for price to move up bullish. I think there's enough range for it to move up as well. When do price needs to create support or resistance for further move? How do you come to know this? Is there any indication for this? Yeah, I mean, there's probability and there's experience, right? So price came up to make a high, it's coming down. So if it creates a support, there's a high probability for price to continue bullish. That's it. And then you execute on that idea. Sometimes you get afraid and you have no confidence, so you don't execute. But the more you see it happen, the more confident you're going to get in it. How do you count pips for gold? Well, it's pretty simple. You basically subtract the two numbers, and then that's basically your pip count. And the easiest way to do that is like $1 move on gold is around 10 pips. So if gold moves from 1878.70 to 1879.70, that's a $1 move. So that's around 10 pips. Yesterday's stream was awful. Yeah, I agree. We had a pretty garbage stream yesterday. Yeah, just, nothing happened yesterday. Let's see here. Do you take sells then buys? I notice sell more than buys. Depends on what's available at the time. Right now there's nothing available if I look at pound yen, but if price does come down to create support, then I'm going to take buys. What dreams do you have for your children? I can't dream for my children. They have their own dreams. Happy birthday, Daddy. Oh, thank you, thank you. Any buys this morning? Yeah, we had buys on pound yen. Waiting for another, waiting for some sort of a retest to take a second buy. So we're going to wait for that. Looks like gold is also rejecting this level. Crazy. Let's see where Bitcoin is sitting here today. Get prepared for this discussion. Let's see here. BTC USD. Ooh, 41,000. Rumors are we should break this area and continue down towards 20,000. That's a rumor, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure how strong that rumor is. We'll see. Oh, look at this. Pound AUD is breaking the highs at this point. Now, technically speaking, there's a higher probability for this price to continue on towards 1.83200. So see how this is like 16, 17 pips. Let's take a look at this chart here. Is it a good idea to take a trade when this candle starts breaking out of the zone as it has volume? No, because the candle is not closing outside of the zone. This is where things get a little tricky. So we got to look at the smaller time frames at that point to really see if the candles are closing at that point or not. So if we look on the 15-minute time frame, this candle closed with no wick on the top. So even if you took the trade and the candle closed with no wick on the top, then you're saying, okay, well, now I got to be careful with this because, we know candles that close with no wicks on the top, there's a 50-50 chance it's going to move up or down. So I think that's what happened at this time. How's your birthday? It was pretty good. Same like every other day. Pound yen buys. Nice one. We had a bunch of people take these buys on pound yen. Just Gold 5-minute chart. Oh, close 50% as the candle closed with a wick on the top. Very nice. Close another 50% as the candle came to my entry. Closed full and minor drawdown. Beautiful. Yeah, it's very nice. Managed the risk. Looked at candles closing with no wicks. You know, basically worked on that. And you know, had a safe trade. Would you close runner if candle closed with no wick on that gold? Would I close runner? I would probably secure positions. You know, if I'm in a trade and the candle is closing with no wick on the top, I'm basically securing some positions at that point, because you got to secure positions. Because if there's a 50-50 chance price is going to move your way or the opposite way, I would want to take something that has a higher than a 50-50 chance. This is gold. Went in buys as the current 5-minute candle broke previous highs. Oh, nice. Clean range here to the left hand side too. What is your overall bias on gold? 4-hour daily time frame. Overall bias is bullish, I would say. It's bullish. Looking on the daily time frame, we're also moving up over here. This daily candle now, it made a lower wick at this point, right? Gold. Now, we're not sure whether this daily candle is going to continue up to fill this wick here or not, which is at 1884. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a yellow line right here to indicate that that's the daily wick fill, and now go to the smaller time frames to identify whether we can continue up here or not. So looking at this 4-hour candle, we got 2 hours left for the 4-hour candle to close. This 4-hour candle has no bottom wick over here, which means it had no bearish pressure to move down at all, but it broke the high to the left hand side. So let's take a look on the 1-hour time frame. So looking at the 1 hour, we're reacting to this resistance here to the left hand side at 1878. If we want price to continue bullish to 1884, which is how much is it? Just like 50 pips away. You know, we want price to close above 1878, 1879. So looking at the 30-minute time frame, this is what we have at this point, right? This area here. So we need price to close above this area or stay above this area. Now looking at the 15-minute time frame, we're creating this minor resistance at 1880. So I think for price to really continue moving bullish, to fill the wick on, let's say the daily candle, we need to break above 1880. I think that's going to be a pretty good move for price to continue bullish. I think that move could happen at NY Open or, you know, NYSE Open. But so far we're in this consolidation phase, looking at the 30-minute time frame as well. You know, so we got to wait to see how this candle is going to close. Still got around 13 minutes left. We may want to maybe adjust this zone over here as well, based on the 15-minute time frame right here, because this is now creating a minor support, and if you break the support, there's a possibility we can continue down. So, like, you know, whenever you're looking at a chart, you got to understand this one thing, right? What do you see clearly, right? Where could you see yourself taking a trade? So if I'm looking at gold, I can see myself taking a buy above 1880 for price to continue on towards 1883, 1884. But if I'm looking at sells, I don't like taking sells, because at this point there's a rejection right here, there's another possible rejection down over here, you know, so I see buys much clearly than sells. You know, so then you got to adjust the fact that, okay, if it breaks support, we know it can go down, but are you going to execute on the sells? Or if it breaks resistance, it's going to go up, and are you going to execute on the buys? You know, so for me, I'm going to execute on the buys if we break above 1880. As you know, in Slack, 99% had GJ trade today. Some closed half, some let it run. What one confirmation which would be stayed in one trade anyway, secure 10 pips? I think that's experience, you know, that's experience, and that also depends on how much percentage or profits are you up for the week. So I think that depends on that as well, you know, so you're going to leave it running or not. What seemingly insignificant thing contributes greatly to your happiness? Insignificant thing? When I can get a nice cold apple in the morning. that's sort of insignificant, but man, like, you know, at times when you're thirsty and water cannot quench that thirst, and you're like, man, I want something more watery that can really quench my thirst, and that's an apple, I think. You have an apple, it's like fresh and acidic, and I don't know, man, something about an apple that just makes me really happy when I have it in the morning. And watermelon too. Yeah, watermelon. All right, let's take a look at this. Gold sells. Gold sells. Enter at the break of the low. Closed 90% at 12 pips. Nice. So basically broke the low right there at that point. Fresh vodka in the morning. Yeah. Do you smoke cigarettes? No, I don't. I stopped smoking cigarettes probably like 6, 7 months ago. Now I can't stand the smell, man. It's so nasty. Ugh. Nasty smell. Why you choose the strategy other than over other strategy? There's no strategy. It's just waiting. I mean, what are you going to do? Price is ranging. Are you going to trade in the range, or are you going to wait for price to break out of the range? I'm going to wait for price to break above 1880, and then I'm going to take a buy and basically have a good trade moving bullish. How long do you use a virtual simulator? Probably once a week. So we're going to have a simulator session tomorrow. You know, so yeah, probably once a week. I'm trying to quit now. Oh, just quit. There's no trying. Just gotta stop smoking. Yeah, man, just gotta stop. That's what happened with me. I just woke up one day. I'm like, all right, well, you know, I'm just gonna stop, and I just stopped. Hey, Raja, is Zoom people also going to miss the session from June 15th? Yes. Let's see here. Can I have your opinion on this trade? Gold 30-minute chart. I actually took this breakout entry based on 30-minute. Would you do it differently? Oh, right here. But why is your trade pointed right over here? There's some difference. Oh, breakout of this area. All right. So basically, we had a resistance formed. 15-minute candle closed below resistance, which means it respected resistance. Next 15-minute candle kind of like broke above in the first half, and then it came down. So I don't think that was a good valid trade to take at that point. Will you leave for 1 month on 15th June? Yes, 10th June basically. When I quit, I like the smell when others smoke, and I still years later the smell when I pass people. Oh. Okay, when you think about, would you have taken the trade if price broke out of the structure? You were available at that time? Possibly. No, we can't talk about that. I can't talk about that because it didn't happen when I was awake, and it happened when I was not there. It's kind of like the question they asked Kanye, what would he would have done if he didn't win an award? And Kanye said, well, I did win, so that's not even a question. So it's the same thing as I wasn't there, so it's not even a question, because every move is going to be a completely different, independent move. You know, so we can't say, oh, what would you have done if you were present when price broke that structure? We can't talk about that because that's never going to happen again. It may happen in some other context, but the same thing, it's not going to happen. What's this? Your JPY waiting for resistance. Oh, nice. This looks good. This looks good. The only thing is you gotta measure how big this range is. So from 855, 780, yeah, it's not that big. I think it's like 8, 9 pip range. But then I guess with volume, we can continue breaking down. Kind of small ranges on your JPY lately, to be honest. Okay, would you have taken this trade? This trade, no, I wouldn't have. I would have waited for 1880 because it's in a range, and on, you know, and like it's a Friday too. So how big was this anyway? This is like a 13, 14 pip range. I don't know. Wouldn't have taken this. How much percentage good for every day? Depends. You know, it depends on what you think is good for every day. Depends on what you think. Look at this. Coming closer to my entry at this point. Had a 20 lot, closed 19.36. So I have this small position running at this point, trying to see if we can get it moving up above this high at this point or not. If we create a support right here, if we create a support somewhere here, I'm going to add another position for price to continue bullish. We'll see if that happens or not. When in your life are you lazy, and what's your excuse? When I wake up in the morning sometimes, I let my alarm ring, and when the second time it rings, I just get up. Getting the laundry, I get pretty lazy too, but then somehow it gets done automatically. Pretty surprised. Alright, let's take a look at this gold buys here. Gold support, broke highs at this point, went above the range. Nice, it was in the range, but you made it work. Do you know what time Tory is coming? No idea. He's like Jay-Z. I don't know when he's going to show up. It's the afternoon there, so we'll see. All right, this is GJ 4-hour chart. Drew some support resistance on the 4-hour, not shown. Think I may be wrong. Okay, so you had a resistance here. You took a sell. Is this support correct? Yes, I think on the smaller time frame, this is a valid area here. Yeah, no, it worked. I think it was pretty good. You know, next candle, this candle broke the low there, and you know we had clean range. Chart is zoomed out, but I get the point. Oh wow, GA dropped. See this? Wow, no confirmation over here. Let's take a look at the 15-minute time frame. Damn, straight move down. Freaky Fridays over here. Let's take a look at GU. Let's take a look at GU, and I'm keeping an eye on gold over here. Potential buys above. Let's see if I can risk my entire profits today. Alright, let's take a look at GU here. Oh, GU is also in the same level at this point. Oh, 10 awesome movies. No. Okay, let's see. Gold and GU. Yeah, GU, we're coming down. We're coming down to do some sort of a retest here. Same thing as, I think, like pound yen. We're coming down, retracing to continue moving bullish. We'll see. We'll see how well that works out. What do you think is the most damaging modern industry and why? I think it's the social media. You know, your phones, social media. Because yesterday I was with my brothers and sisters, and we were talking about how when we were like, you know, in our teens, and when we had nothing to do, we would just go read a book. You know, we'd go read books, or on the computer we had encyclopedias, right? Like the Britannia Encyclopedia, stuff like that. I mean, if you guys remember that or not, if you're old enough, we had that, and we just kind of like, it was all learning at that time, you know. And now, man, you got phones, so many distractions. I think that's the most damaging modern invention at the same time. Like, some people can use it for more constructive purposes, but majority just uses it. It's just a waste of time, you know, to be honest. Encarta, and yeah, it was something like that. Encarta Encyclopedia, Britannia Encyclopedia came on 6 discs, 6 CDs. Please enter disc 1. Please enter disc 2. We would buy them on the black market, and the disc 4 wouldn't work. And we had to go back to get a new disc 4. Hey man, disc 4 is not working. If price can break this support, can continue down to next support. Yes, I think at this time as well, this chart, USD CAD, you can see how far we've moved down, right? So I think it's going to be better to see some sort of a retracement, or to see some sort of like a mini resistance form for price to continue down, because at this point we're just creating a low over here in a downtrend. So whenever you have a downtrend, always wait for a support to form, for price to retrace, and then wait for a resistance to form, and then try to, you know, look for a trade to continue moving bearish. You know, sort of like the same thing I'm looking at on pound yen over here. right? So we moved up, we created a high at this point, and now I'm waiting for price to create some sort of a support for price to continue moving bullish. Oh, gold is still in this range over here. Can you also take a look at my trade yesterday from the Asian session? Let's take a look at this. Oh, nice. We're just ranging at this point, waiting for a range to break, and price broke resistance with volume, executed a buy, secured 11 pips, and then price came back down. Nice. You know, did it continue moving bullish? No. Oh yeah, a little bit right here, and then it kind of like came back in the range. How much drawdown on gold do you typically take before you end up closing? If I'm just watching it, I think the max drawdown I'm going to take is going to be like 20 pips. At 15, 20 pips, I'm going to close 50%. Your hair looks good on camera. It's even better when you rub your hands through it. Trust me, it's like a it's like a different feeling. All right, waiting for retracement for buys. Yeah, kind of like the same thing I'm looking for here too. We'll see if that happens here or not. Wow, GA is just plummeting here. What was the last thing you changed your mind about and why? Living in Canada? Changed my mind about there and now moving. Where is the guest? He's in London. Could you please do a breakdown of EJ? Since a couple of days I've had pretty big problems with trading EJ. I'm curious if your understanding of a structure is similar to mine. I think your JPY has had really low volume during April, and I mean still. All right, so far we're coming down here on your JPY. We're coming down towards the support area. Looking at the 30-minute, I think it's going to be better to wait for price to kind of like close below this area, to have a candle kind of like, close possibly like this. It's going to be better. Close like this, and the next one to continue moving bearish. And expect volume to break below these wicks over here as well to the left-hand side. But yeah, I think this move is already done on your JPY. Now when I look back at this area, looking at the 15-minute time frame, I think okay, let's say if someone was looking for a sell here in your JPY, and now you're taking sell at the bottom, and if you're taking sell at the bottom, you're just like, yeah, these sells are at support, I'm not sure if I should take it or not. So instead of taking sells because you've missed the sells, you got to talk to yourself about, okay, if this candle was the trade I was looking for and I didn't get any confirmations, where could I have taken an entry for price to continue down? And the only answer I can see just by looking at this is that probably somewhere right over, let me get my marker here, right over here. When we broke the low, I think that could have been a very good entry for price to continue down, because the previous candle closed like a weak bullish candle, which means there's less bullish momentum for price to move up. And also, we have this big exhaustion wick here. So stop would have been like a 4 pip stop, and I think could have had like a 9-10 pip take profit at that time. In hindsight, this is really important, because this is where your learning goes. Because if you're missing the trade, and if you're not studying how you could have entered that trade, it's just going to be very damaging to your psychology as well, because you're going to try to take a sell at the bottom, and you're probably going to get slapped around by price, so you got to be very aware of that. Today is my disaster trade. Let's take a look over here. Entry here, stopped out, couldn't manage risk, price was moving fast, no wick. Oh, if there was no wick, you should have closed. Second entry right here, closed half, and half stopped out at break even. Nice. Well, I guess you were safe at that point, right? 1.5 year in trade and still can't managing risk properly, still break even. What should I do, sir? Please advise. Analysis was correct. Trade results, 5 pip loss, even with 2 entries. Yeah, so I mean, the whole problem was we created resistance here So I think, yeah, so we created resistance here. I think a better idea would have been to wait for price to break this resistance to continue bullish. And we didn't get any confirmations here for price to break this area. But you're managing risk, you know, you're managing risk here. Look, you're closing half. So that's better than, you know, not managing risk at all. Wow, we're coming straight down. My run is going to get stopped out over here. Oh, yeah, I think it's going to get stopped out. We'll see if we can re-enter a position once we create a support at this point on pound yen. If we create a support, I think we can continue moving bullish. Do you think a lot of backtesting help? Yes, it does help to some extent. What do you think about GJ on the 1 hour after the hourly rejection? I think we can move back up, you know, towards 154, 650. I think we can move back up over there. I think we can also continue on towards 154, 800. You know, but we just need some sort of confirmation, like a 15-minute support followed by a 30-minute support. I think that's going to be pretty good. How has peer pressure shaped your life? There's no peer pressure in my life at this point. There used to be when I was young, but now it's just gone. Can I ask you, why do you execute some of your trades at different time frames? Different confirmations, you know, different time frames, different confirmations. Like, I mean, if you look at the pound yen right now, obviously I'm looking for a support to form for price to move up. So I think if a 15-minute candle can close bullish and the next one can break the high, I think that's going to be my confirmation for price to continue moving bullish without waiting for the 30-minute candle to close, because we're getting sort of that confirmation on the 15-minute time frame. Wow, it's really rejecting that area. Gold is still in this range, waiting for gold. Did you share daily your forecasting status with your members? Yeah, we do post like Asian session analysis, kind of like that could shape price moving into London session, New York session. So, you know, most times it works out really well, but sometimes, you know, price doesn't really work out the way you expect it to. Yeah, this will be a very good break here, above 1880. Do you ever think about doing a one-on-one mentorship? No, never. Way too much work. Hey, can you tell us proper difference between liquidity grab and pullback? I've seen people use those interchangeably. I don't use them at all. You know, I'm just waiting for price to kind of like close bullish so I can enter another position for price to continue up. And ironically, my position didn't get stopped out. We're still in it. So I'm going to try to see if I can add another position somewhere over here for price to move bullish. 154, 800 would be a very, very good target. So yeah, just waiting for this 15-minute candle to close. Got around 7 minutes left. Have you tried any of ICT methods? No. Do you only go lower than 15 minutes for gold? Yes. I'll be shifting to live account with $200 from next week. Any tips? Yeah, man, just don't fuck shit up. That's it. When I first started, my first live account was $200. So I would say you're on the right path. You're on the right path. Just don't overtrade. That's it. Don't overtrade. Don't over risk. Don't try to make $1 million from $200. It's never gonna happen. Just go slow. You know, because when we start from smaller accounts, we think we're gonna make millions. Oh wow, man, this thing is really coming down over here. Broke the low on the 4 hour as well. Damn. GA moves a lot. Yeah, GA is straight melting at this point. When come today? When today come, Tory? Probably in like 10-15 minutes. Why do you always waiting to bottom wick to form to take buy? Because I watch many time price without bottom wick go up sharply. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. You know, if price moves up without making a bottom wick, that's cool. It is what it is, you know. What's most important is to just wait for what you want to see. Oh, it looks like we have Tory in the house over here. Are you bullish on gold? I do think if we break above 1880, we can continue bullish, but you know, it's Friday, so just kind of like laying low here, apart from if we get some confirmations on GJ, but that's about it. Okay, I'm live back testing GA. Was this a stupid trade idea? I think if you took this trade, you need to identify how could you have managed your risk. That's one thing you also need to understand at this point, where you could have managed your risk, even if you took this trade for price to continue bullish. What's this? Took a buy at this point on GJ after break the high. TP 10 pips. Nice. Resistance level. Zone work is good. It's pretty good. Hey, GA could be weekly rejection. I'm not sure. You need to post a chart on the weekly. Let's take a look over here. Yeah, it could be weekly rejection. I can see that. You know, honestly, I was waiting for price to create some sort of a support for it to move bullish, but I guess it had other plans, so it's coming down here. What trip changed your life for the better? I don't know. Trip back to Pakistan. Something happened there in 1 week. I came back to Canada. I'm like, hey, we gotta pack our bags and we gotta move the fuck out. That's what happened. Something happened within that week. Something swished in my mind. I'm like, no, I gotta go back. I gotta go back. Yes, yeah. So those are some deep questions, man. You guys are digging deep with these questions. Pound yen. This is the only thing I'm waiting for here now. Close bullish, we break the high, and then we can continue moving bullish. Do you provide signals on OnlyFans? You know what? For a little while, I was really contemplating that. Like build like an OnlyFans and charge like maybe $30 a month, $40 a month, and just host the live streams from there. You know, that's the best. Host live streams from there, and it would, I mean, it's amazing, right? And then everyone's going to do the same. It just takes one person to do something different. It works, and everybody jumps on the wagon. Oh shit! Okay, let's go. Let's go. How am I going to explain I use OnlyFans? Oh yeah, how am I going to explain I use OnlyFans? That's the question. Because OnlyFans is not all about posting, you know, pictures of yourself in like small clothing, stuff like that. Like you can use it for anything. You know, selling products, selling services, selling one-on-ones, you know. Doesn't have to be about. Acha, let's see here. How many months or years did you take to become consistently profitable? I think it's not about how much time it took. It's about what understanding it took to get to that level. And I think the understanding part comes from the fact that, okay, it just goes back to the same thing we talk about all the time. Like if you're taking a loss, a losing trade, why is that happening? Most times, you know, when we're new, when we haven't matured in the market and we take a losing trade, we're like, okay, like, you know what, how can I make this loss back? Or what can I do to make sure I can make all that loss back? You know, so that's something really important you need to understand. And that's what happened, because if you can learn how you could have, like, you know, avoided that loss, or where you could have had a better entry, or like, you know, if you had an early entry, how you could have waited, that same situation is going to happen over and over again, and you're going to be much ready for that later on. So I think it's not about how much time it took. It's about what type of mentality you need to have to, like, you know, make that change. What do you know about life that few people haven't figured out yet? Man, if you think you're the best, trust me, there are thousands of people that are 100 times better than you. At no matter what level you get. And I think that sort of thinking has really kept me humble during my entire journey. You can never be the best. There are people who are way, way, way better than you. Way better and bigger than you. What's this here? Waiting for support formed. Price already moved a lot, so need support formed before taking another sell. Yeah, that's gonna be good. We're waiting for this area to break.
Hey Roger.
Hey, how's it going?
Fine, and you?
Good, good.
Very good. Alhamdulillah. What do you think about sales on GU? You have like a break of support.
Let's see, GU. Yeah, I mean, oh, we broke the support over here. Yeah, it looks good. I mean, if we break this low, I think we have clean area here to the left-hand side.
Beautiful. Think about it.
Yeah, it could work. The thing I like most from Trader's Domain is that you can expand the chart in MT5 like you do in TradingView. I think that's the quality of MT5. You can do that anyway. Oh, looks like gold is coming back above 1880. Man, yesterday I was with my family and they were talking about how Bitcoin is at the dip now, and I'm like, how do you know that's the dip? Because like most people are talking about, oh, this is the lowest it's gonna go and it's time to buy at this point. And I'm like, hey, listen, if everyone's talking about it, you just stay away from it. If everyone says this is the dip, you just stay away. Last time it went to, I told them this. Last time it went to 19,000, it came back to 10,000, and everyone said this is the dip. This is the lowest. Fucking thing went to 3,500. Stayed there for a little while, and then it started moving back up. It's kind of like how you hold big drawdowns. You hold a big ass drawdown, and it stays in that drawdown for a couple days. And once you get tired of watching that drawdown, you close everything, and then price starts moving your way, and you're like, oh man, only if I held a little bit longer. So that's what institutions do. They're just waiting. They're waiting for it to drop more. More people get fucked, comes back down, and then will impulse buys on gold be good after we break resistance? Yeah, man. I think if we can have a candle closing above 1880, that's going to be better for price to move up. I know you're looking for support form on GJ, but what do you think about that 1 hour candle close bearish with a long rejection? I don't think nothing about it. This is what I'm looking at. I'm just looking at a candle to close bullish. That's it. If I can get a candle to close bullish, I'm going to execute a buy and hopefully we can continue moving bullish. That's all what I'm looking for. My runner is still here. If it gets stopped out, whatever, but if we do form support, I'm going to add a position to that trade and we can continue moving bullish. So this is something that I want to see on gold, something like this. And then from this point, I think we can continue moving bullish. Any news today? Yes, we have news coming in. Do not overtrade on a Friday. That's the biggest news you can get. So right now we're coming up towards 1880 at this point. Your target, if you break 1880, my target is going to be a safe target, 1883. Right here. Oh, get rid of this pitchfork. 1883 would be a really, really good target. So I think at 1880, 350 could be a pretty good buy for price to continue bullish.
Hey Roger, how are you, mate?
Good, good. How are you?
Yeah, nah, fantastic, man. I just been watching like everything what's been happening with the Dogecoin and everything that's what these boys need to see as well. Like, they've got no idea like you have to make sure like you have to be like an apprenticeship with Ted and with you guys. Like, I mean, it's almost like part of a team. Like you are the captain, and then we got Ted who's the coach. So it's just like it's a mixture of things. Like, yeah, sorry, I should not. I'm speaking to you. I'm thinking out loud. So
Okay.
Yeah, but it makes sense, man.
yeah, yeah, I'm thinking out loud, man. Like I'll be honest with you. Yeah, no, man. Like, I'll be honest with you, like Karen. I'll be honest with you, like you've got no idea, like how much like these guys. It's almost like a team, like how much like I feel like I'm like damn, like boom, and I get excited, like stuff like that, and they're just so organized and they shoot. That's like you need to stop this, you need to do that. You stuffing up here, you move this, you need to do that. I've got my dietitian, I've got my everything over here, and I just feel like good. I'm just like, yeah, boy, let's go.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. No, you got the
Oh
good
man,
vibes there. No, you got the good vibes.
there's nothing like it though, Raj. That's the thing I like about this team as well. Like you, even Kerwin as well, man. Like he's like that data set there over there going, yeah. Yeah. Nah, man. Like seriously, dude. Like 100%. Like you are a star. Like even with Ted and everybody. Like
Yeah, thank you, man. Too kind. Appreciate it.
yeah, yeah. So
What's this here? I opened an online store yesterday. I sent a DM about it on Slack. Can you please check it out when you're free? How about you paste the link right here and we'll take a look at it. Wow, GA really came down over here. Damn. How are you going to risk your profit? How much percentage? How much trade per day? There's like 3 questions in one. Probably like around, I don't know, like maybe 10% of the profits. 10%, 15%, we'll see. But there's nothing yet. Was waiting for gold, but it got rejected. Pound yen, runner got stopped out. Now it's dropping. It is what it is. Let's see here. Can you show your bank account real quick? I have to check something. Trust me, I don't have commas. How are you going to? Oh wow, this fall is coming in really, really tight over here. Are you looking GJ sell left clean candle? Nope. I was looking for buys on GJ, but you know that clearly buys are not going to happen here anytime soon now. So it's just going to come down. It is what it is. When is the shop MF Swag reopen? I don't think it's reopening anymore. The person who was running the shop, they closed it. We have this one though. If it's fxmarketgear.com. Yeah, fxmarketgear.com. This is also ran, and these are actually pretty good. I have 6 of these shirts. I have 4 of the hoodies. I bought 4 hoodies from here too. They don't shrink. The only problem I have with clothing is that they shrink, but here they don't shrink. They're made in Washington here too in the US. Even though this is all about trading, thanks a lot for the humility, integrity, and inspiration. Most of all, oh, nice. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Looking back at the 1 hour time frame on GJ, that's a huge rejection. Would have liked to taken it as a sell as it broke the low. Yeah, but the only problem was there was this sort of like a rejection area here as well, which is why it is what it is. Kind of missed it. So let's see here. Oh, someone took the sell on GJ. Okay, nice. Very nice, very nice. I would probably wait for some sort of if I'm taking a sell, I would want to wait for some sort of like a retest for it to continue down. So it's going to be a long wait now. What's this shop called? Oh, butter chicken. What is this thing over here? Shopee butter chicken. What do you do with this? Premium 6 months, Netflix 6 months.
Buy subscriptions.
Oh, subscriptions.
Yeah. Pornhub, it's really cheap.
Nice. I'll have to look into this more. Amazon Prime, oh, $5 for 6 months. So, interesting. Any thoughts, please, or was it probability? Let's take a look over here. Let's take a look. Gold is still struggling in this area, so we're going to wait for gold. See what happens. All right, GJ, taking note, 4 hours retesting previous area. Support created, waiting for price to break, 30 minutes. Yeah, I think it was a little bit choppy over here. I think it was choppy to take this trade. I mean, if you managed it, took it, that's all good, but I would have waited for it. Would have waited for some sort of a, like a resistance to form, but yeah, I think it was a little choppy at that point. Let's take a look at this. Buy on silver. Price broke above resistance. Yeah, but the candle closed with the weak bullish candle, so this means there's less volume. So you kind of want a candle to close above this area to continue bullish, which is not happening at this point. Still waiting on gold here. Why would you wait for retest in GJ? Because it's Friday and we really got, oh god damn, look at that rejection. You know, this is good. Now we got 3 minutes left for the candle to close. Right, looking at 30-minute time frame, 3 minutes left. Now, if this candle closes above this area, this means we're rejecting at the bottom to kind of like close above this area. And if we close above this area and the next candle starts breaking the high, I think we can continue moving bullish at that time. Because we're breaking the high, we have a huge rejection at the bottom, so it just looks amazing for price to move bullish. You know, this is why it's very important to wait. You know, whenever you see price moving really quick, do not execute on that. You know, those are moves where the market entices you to enter, you know, and then it's basically not a good time at all. Because if you entered sells at the bottom, you basically got caught over here. Stop loss, be aggressive. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But the signal is coming in. Signal is being formed at this point. The signal of pound yen buys is about to be formed. So get your accounts ready. We're gonna go 3, 2, 1, enter.
And then you hear open calc sound.
Yeah. Someone full margins their account and you hear gong gong. Like, you know, when you full margin your account and you open any more positions. Gong.
That's the sound of death.
Yeah. Normally that happens when you've really fucked your account and this is the last 2-3 trades you're taking. You're like, all right, let's just go full margin.
Yeah. That's down.
Mac knows all about that, right? Every week.
Yeah.
No, just joking. How are you, man? You good?
Good. Like a villain.
All right, so we get 2 amazing opportunities coming up. Gold above 1880, pound yen above 154.500. Getting our magic keys ready at the same time. Keys to success: trading pairs, gold and GJ, 2 per trade, 2 wins, 2 losses. 2% per trade. I will not overtrade and over leverage in a revenge trade. I will stick to my plan. Nice. 1 cup of this daily burns 12 pounds on. Yeah, these things are such lies over here. 1 cup of this daily burns 12 lbs of fat in a week. 12 lbs of, that's a lot of weight to burn, man, by one drink. It's like a magic potion. All right, so we're getting this rejection here. Finally, candle is closing at this point. Beautiful. Yeah, I'm going to execute a buy at 154.500 for price to continue bullish. I think it's going to be a pretty good trade. Gold will wait for 1880. Could you explain how the banks take out sell stops and buy stops with their pip hunting candles? I don't think that doesn't happen. You have $100,000 account, but you can't afford a chair because I don't have money to spare. That's why. You gotta have money to spare to buy things, but I don't have it. All right. Nice, we're making a lower wick at this point. This is good because look, this is resistance. Candle wicked down and closed above this area. If this candle breaks the high of the previous candle, and we can have a stop below this candle, which is at 8 pips, I think it's going to be pretty good. It's going to be a really, really good idea. Don't you think bearish candle close is risky for taking buys? Well, no one's taking buys at this time. I clearly explained when I'm looking for buys. What do you think about opening 2 positions at the same time on 2 different pairs because there's a good confirmation? Yeah, I think it's good. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do today. Open a position on gold if you break above 1880, and open a position on pound yen if you break above 154.500. Can you tell Christopher to go back to that balcony so I can enjoy that view? I don't think that level is available today. He's in a new level today.
Yeah, I'm not home right now.
All right, look at this. We're coming up. We are coming up right now.
Oh,
We're about to break this high over here. The 154.500. Gold is also breaking above 1880. Spartans, are you ready? Someone's account is gonna be like Spartan today. Guys looking at their account, bunch of losses, and he's saying, "My soldier, are you ready for this final trade?" Massaging the account. All right, buddy. We're gonna go for a ride today. It's a Friday.
oh man.
I remember those days, man. Fridays, account has taken a beating all week long. Started from a $2,000 account, got $300 left. All right, this is the trade.
This is the trade.
Yeah, start oiling the account, start massaging it. Get ready, buddy. You've been through a lot the whole week.
Shadow boxing with it.
Yeah. The Rocky music starts playing when price gets to 154.500. Oh, we're coming up.
Eye of the tiger.
Yeah, it's the tiger.
Uh-huh.
All right, we're coming up over here. Stop is going to be like 10 pips, and we're looking at 154.660. It's going to be a good idea. Can you show how you executed the buy on GJ today? Not right now. We're about to execute right here. Eye of the tiger is coming up. 154.500. Oh. All right. The entry has gone in right now. I've taken a buy right here. Stop is below this current candle, anticipating price to continue to 154,640. This is it right over here. Taking this buy position. So yeah, stop is below this candle right over here. Expecting price to continue on towards, 154,640 would be a pretty good target at this point. So we're going to see if that works out here. Can I rent Magic Keys for 30 days? We'll need some sort of collateral. You'll need to send something you really like so we can hold it against it. How will you manage risk on this? The way I'm going to manage risk on this trade is that, so we've basically taken it on the 15-minute time frame. If let's say we have a 5-minute closing back below in this area, I'm going to close 50% at that time. So basically the trade is executed on the 15-minute time frame. So I'm going to be managing risk on the one time frame lower, which is going to be the 5-minute time frame. And as the 15-minute starts closing above this area, so we're going to move on to the 30-minute time frame. 30 minutes is going to close bullish, and then we're really going to expect it to continue up. But I'm going to be managing risk based on the smaller time frame. But let's not talk about risk. Let's talk about this price going above, but also keeping risk in mind. Gold is still ranging over here. Wow, GU has almost like the same setup at this time. Why did you take your entry in 15-minute and stop on actual 15-minute? Because we're breaking the high over here, and we made a high over here. So if we're breaking the high and we're moving into a high volume time, so there's a higher probability we can continue up to retest this high after this huge rejection. What would you do if you enter a trade and price immediately drops into a big drawdown? It depends. I mean, big drawdown. Do you have a stop loss on that trade? I mean, shouldn't really drop in a big drawdown. I would just try to close 50% at that time. So if I look at the smaller time frames right here, this candle is about to close in about 2 minutes. The 5-minute candle, 15-minute candle still open. So, it's all good. The only thing we can do is manage risk at this time. Aren't you over trading on Friday? No, I'm not. We got Swanee and Zoom here. GG to her. Oh, nice. How can you manage risk on that trade? I think you need to learn how to manage risk. I would love to hear your feedback on this trade. Took it about 30 minutes ago. Oh, closed 20 pips. Let's take a look. A sell here for price to move down. Nice. I think at this point, we should continue moving bullish from this area. Oh, look at this. We're pushing up a little bit. Very nice, very nice. Start massaging your account now.
Nice.
Give it like a good old tap on the back. Come on, buddy. You can do it.
It's been a long time since we don't share on a GG trade, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Gotta cheer, man.
How are you using Dominion Markets as a broker if they don't accept Canadian clients? Oh, you can register under crypto. Yeah, so there's going to be crypto in the country list. You can register under there. Oh, looks like the massaging is working over here. Nice. Oh, moving up. Beautiful. Very nice. Just got to move up a little bit more. This looks good, but my plan is one trade on Friday only, had winning sell earlier, and I'm good. Cheering for you all. Oh, nice, man. Yeah, I think it should work out pretty nicely over here.
And also when we break above 154.560, we also break the high on the 1 hour, which maybe give another push.
Oh, nice.
So fingers crossed.
Do you have any passive income? Yeah, it's there. Please don't say something right now, Kerwin. We are holding our chair here. Oh. Okay. What's this? Who is Tory? Tory is someone who I heard about in 2017, and all he was talking about cryptos and how they were moving up and up and up and up. And it just stayed on the sidelines. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to monitor this. And since 2017, mostly, I mean, I would say most of his, you know, for lack of better term, like his anticipations on crypto have been spot on. With the bull runs to the bearish runs. I mean, I've had people say, oh, you know, we've reached highs at this point, but nope. According to him, they weren't the highs, and price still started moving up. And like, you know, so whenever I have conversations with people about cryptos, I make sure that I go through his stories just so that I can have, like, you know, good conversation, so I know what I'm talking about. Oh, nice. We're moving up over here too. Up about 2 pips at this point. 2 pips. Need price to get to around, I would say, 154, 600, 620. That's going to be a pretty good idea to take profits there.
We still have New York open as a possible good move to the upside.
On gold?
On GJ.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think that will be a wonderful move. Because if this 15-minute candle closes bullish, we're creating support, and the next one can continue up.
Yes.
And then moving in NY open, we could get that continuation.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so at this point, I'm closing 50% off my position right here. Where is it? Yeah, right here. I closed 50% of my position because price went in profits, came back to the entry point. Now it's time to go in drawdown, and I'm not comfortable with that, especially on a Friday. So I closed 50% right there. You know, gotta manage risk. A lot of wicks at 4 hour. Did you guys go long? Yes. Oh, we're also breaking the low on the 5-minute right over here too. So that means, oh, that means closed in another half right over here. So really managing risk. You know, it's really important to really managing risk. So if you look right here, look, so in history, opened a 10 lot, closed 50% twice, and now we're at negative 225, right? So now we only have like, 2.5 running at this point, really managing risk. And it's very important. Let's see this. Oh, there's Tory. Let me bring him in. Spotlight. Welcome. Welcome to our humble house here.
It's a pleasure to be back.
Yeah, how are you, man? You're looking good.
Thank you, bro. Likewise. See you getting a bit muscular over there.
Yeah, trying to stay fit, trying to stay healthy in these lockdowns. The governments are not helping.
What's the secret?
The secret, man, honestly, is just less carbs. Just low carbs.
I need to try and stick to that. That's the hardest of them all, not eating bread.
Yeah, that's it. Bread, donuts. You gotta stop donuts.
Oh no, I can't stop the donuts. That's one thing that will never stop.
No, that's good. That's good.
I'm in this GJ Long. Am I in trouble?
Yeah. Just manage risk and massage your account a little bit. Tend to get ready.
No problem. There's no stop loss, so I have full faith in you.
Oh, perfect. No, that's perfect.
That's how we do it over here.
But if you don't close, you don't lose. So that's good.
That's what a lot of crypto investors seem to think as well.
Man, it's just nuts. I'm in this group, and this group has 52,000 people in it, and everyone is paying around $12 a month. 52. All I hear is, "Hey, I have $1,000. Should I buy this certain coin right now? I have 5,000. My account is down 40%. What should I do?"
It's crazy. It's like the Telegram groups have just like exploded. Just random people, like never seen them before, and had no online presence. They've just come out of nowhere. Bang, Telegram groups.
Yeah.
What did you say earlier? You overheard someone talking about crypto, or was it your parents or something? You said.
Yeah. So we were having a conversation yesterday, like among the family, right? And they were all talking about, oh yeah, Bitcoin was at like 60,000, and it's down to now 30,000. It's time to buy right now. I'm like, no, this when everyone says it's time to buy, it's just stay the fuck out, stay away.
Exactly. It's like the easiest way to make money in this market is just do the opposite of everyone else. It's like it's so simple. It's like it's such a cult. It's just become a massive cult now. And you can see that with like the celebrities and influencers and stuff as well. It's crazy. BTC,
because I really we talked about this a lot, and we really think like all this pump was there was huge money behind all this pump, especially with Elon. There was huge money behind him.
Yeah. That's the thing is, these people, they think because like Elon's involved or institutions are involved, people forget people like Elon, they're investing millions, billions. They don't 99% of the crypto market, they want moon. They want the moon, they want the rocket ship, they want to go 60,000 BTC is not enough for these people. They want 100,000, they want 500,000. That's because they're not holding enough because they all want to become millionaires. Someone like Elon, he just needs a 500 pip move. He's done. Yeah. And they can get in and out. And I'm pretty sure Elon has got out now. Almost certain.
100%.
Why would he stay in? He's made his money. The minute he jumps in, and technically you can't blame the guy. He's just, he's taking advantage of a very stupid market.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with Dogecoin, it happened. From nothing to 60 cents at that point.
Yeah. Because technically he's not really breaking any regulations. It's not a pump and dump because he's not saying buy. It just shows how stupid the crypto market is. He will just say Doge to the moon and it will go up. So he's not actually violating any real laws. So he can get away with it. It just shows the cult-like behavior. It's insane. It's insane.
So what would be your biggest advice to new people coming into Bitcoin right now?
Don't be a fucking idiot. That would be the strongest advice, first and foremost. That's probably the key take home. But it would just be, don't jump on board. If you go to the weekly on BTC, I can always get up the chart as well if you need me to. But the weekly, I mean, you know, that whole move upwards, people are like, this is just the beginning. We haven't started yet. We're still going to the moon. Like, for some people, this is not a bull run. And I feel like if you haven't got involved yet, because this is the point in time where the retail traders, like the average person, jumps on board. The smart people got involved at the bottom over there, 2020. The institutions start jumping on board halfway, and then the retail is always the final ones to get involved. That's what causes the final pump. And that's why we've seen that crash. So people are blaming Elon Musk and China banning crypto. China ban crypto like every fucking week. The most important thing is just to like, you don't need to feel like you're missing out. All you have to do, the market will always crash. There's always a better buying opportunity that will present itself. Like, you don't need to be jumping on at $40,000, $50,000, because if you're adopting that ideology of hodl, you're not going to take the profits anyway. So you're going to jump on either in the middle or the end of a bull run, expecting price to go up even higher, another 100%, and you'll never get to the point of taking profits. Then you're stuck in drawdown, like in this situation right now, where almost $1 trillion got wiped off the market cap, which, well, $1 trillion in liquidations pretty much came through. So I think it's just important, like, if you've missed the move, just sit the fuck back and wait for the next bear market. You'll make more money waiting a few years or a few months for the bear market to buy it the best price possible versus trying to jump on board the train when the early adopters are the ones that are making money. You might make money temporarily if you buy at 40,000 when it goes up to 60K, but you're not going to take the profit anyway. So what's the point in buying if you're going to end up in a loss?
Yes.
Do you think price will retrace to previous highs? Is that Bitcoin you're talking about?
I think so.
Yeah, I do. I think you can see it head and shoulders on the weekly as well. I think with all of those longs, the way Bitcoin seems to work, I always put it in perspective of the bulls versus bears. Institutions as well, they don't really use stop losses, a lot of them. They just hold very large swings in the market, especially in Bitcoin. So imagine all of those longs that are in massive drawdown right now. It's very likely they'll drive price back up, get back to some form of an equilibrium, either cut their losses short or even make a bit of profit. But I think it's going to go back to around 60, 64K. The market will probably begin from there.
Oh, so there's going to be one last touch to 64, yeah. And okay.
I think one little retest, and then the bear market's going to begin. I still think it's going to $5,000, personally.
Damn, that's scary.
That's a scary number.
Average Joe who's holding and praying that this thing doesn't fall even more.
Trust me, this is like, that's normally the Kickstarter of a bear market. That move right there shows us, I think, 5K. 10K is my target, but I think we'll see a wick down to like 5, 6K. And that's going to fuck up a lot of people.
So, right, do you think the altcoins also are going to fall?
Yeah, the BTC dominance just hit 40% and started pulling back up. So I think the BTC dominance is going to go back to like 60, 70%, which in return is going to take the altcoins down with it as well. That's why I'm waiting for XRP. Like, that's the main one I play with back and forth. Just wait for that to go back down to the lows. Or I think almost every altcoin will go back to the lows.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that you were talking about, like, you know, buying at 40,000. Like, I mean, at the same time, if you're buying into something that has a high return, you're basically buying in the fact that, okay, if you buy at, let's say, 40,000, for you to really make money or double your money, you would want it to go to 80,000.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, when I look at price right now, to me, it doesn't make sense. Like, if it, I was having a conversation with someone yesterday again, and we were talking about, okay, if it comes down to 15, it makes sense to buy at that point and then hodl it, because then your return is going to be much more massive than, you know, buying at 40, 41, whatever. Yeah,
definitely. And I think like taking profits is so important. Like, I don't know if you saw my stories the other day where I was showing the XRP buys and sells from like 16 cents. Like, the goal isn't to hodl forever. Like, anyone that says hodl or to the moon, they just have no game plan. So they're just buying and praying that it will just keep going up. And that's why this was probably the best thing that could ever happen to people. Like, I think this was very important to see this happen.
So, right.
Yes.
Out of the stable coins, Polkadot, ADA, and all those, which one do you think is the best project?
Out of stable coins?
Yeah.
None of them.
None of them.
Let me, I was actually going to show you guys something. I don't know.
Yeah, you can share your screen if you want.
Yeah, I'll share screen. I've been writing a book at the moment entirely about Bitcoin and Tether, because this whole market is being propped up by fuck all, basically. It's all fabricated money. Tether is, let me show you guys. I don't know if anyone knows about Tether.
Yeah.
Host disabled participant screen sharing.
Hold on.
Show you guys something.
Your content is amazing, man.
Okay, now I think you can share your screen.
There we go. Let me show you guys this. Has anyone seen this? This is Tether's reserves. So Tether has a market cap of like $58.5 billion, right? And circulating supply is $58.5 billion. And they've been claiming for years they were backed with one-to-one cash reserves. They had, for each USDT that's been minted, they claimed they had $1 USD in cash reserves. After their court case has just come out, where they've been banned from trading in New York, they've finally been forced to reveal their reserves and what they're actually holding to back that 58 billion that's in circulation. And it turns out, after they've been ordered by the New York Attorney General, they only have 3.87% of cash reserves, physical backing of the 58 million in circulation.
So wait, so for someone like me, I have no idea what this is.
So this is a stable coin. This is basically a tokenized version of the US dollar. This is how, basically, because crypto's people forget crypto's unregulated, right? So once we are in the phases of regulation right now. So when that regulation comes in, we won't be seeing those kind of parabolic moves anymore. The only reason the market's moving like this is because it's the Wild West. And Tether, USDT, the stable coin, the reason it's so popular is because it's very, well, especially from 2017, it was very hard for exchanges to get banking affiliations and banking partnerships because it was unregulated. They were too scared, blah, blah, blah. So USDT kind of filled the gap. You would basically give your US dollars or wire transfer to Tether. They would give you USDT in return. You can then deposit that on the exchanges. They accommodate for almost 80% of the entire cryptocurrency market transactions and the growth of Bitcoin. So if we look at the growth of Bitcoin, now we know it's backed by fuck all. It's backed by imagination, basically. This is actually when they were demanded by the judge to release their reserves holding. This is all they provided. Literally this screenshot here. No, nothing else. Commercial paper, fiduciary deposits, reserve repo notes, treasury bills, cash. So they're very smart as well. You see here, they said they tried to make it look like they're backed 75.85%, like cash and other equivalents, commercial paper, but the only real cash backing is there. So essentially all of this, they've provided no proof. You don't know if they're regulated. You don't know if the bonds are junk bonds. You don't know what they're holding. So it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So if you think about it, BTC's hit $60,000 backed by what? Imaginary US dollar tokens. And this is all going to come crashing down. They've never even had an official accounting audit. They're basically, all of these stable coins, they're replicating the fractional reserve banking business model, but unregulated. So imagine what happens when regulations come in and all of this comes to light.
So what about that BTC Cash? Is that the same thing as equivalent to the US dollar, or is that something against
Bitcoin Cash?
Bitcoin Cash, yeah.
They're all just hard forks or soft forks of the original Bitcoin protocol. So they're all scams to me, hard forks. Like when you go into it, it's basically arguments between the original devs, the original founders. Everyone's fighting over the true Satoshi vision. They're all battling over, no, this is Satoshi's vision. We're going to go Bitcoin SV. We're going to have Bitcoin Cash. All of this bullshit. It's just like, it's easy ways to make money. Like BTC and Tether is a fucking scam. And that's the problem. People are not going to wake up to that until it crashes. I don't even think BTC will even be around within 5 years, personally. Damn. And that's coming from someone who, wants crypto to thrive. I don't believe in Bitcoin. I think it started off as a payment protocol. It was meant to be a peer-to-peer payment protocol to take away the banks, all that revolutionary bullshit, take over the governments, take over the banks. Now it's become a store of wealth, apparently. Now it's a store of wealth. Now it's digital gold, but that's not what it's intended to do. It's meant to be a payment process. It's meant to be a payment coin. and it can't even achieve that yet.
So you don't believe in crypto?
I do believe in crypto. I believe in crypto heavily, but I don't believe in Bitcoin. I believe Bitcoin is useless. It's useless. BTC is slower in transactions. Monaz, yeah, it is slower in transactions. And the way they're going to alleviate that is with the Lightning Network protocol, which is funded by bankers, government affiliates, all of that stuff. And that's going to be a fee-based system, the Lightning Network. So everyone's pushing for Lightning Network protocol, which is an off-chain protocol, which is a fee-based system. So Bitcoin was designed to overtake the initial banking cartel, who are based on fee-based systems like PayPal. But Bitcoin is becoming the digitalized version of our existing payment system. And its main investors of this stuff are the people that are involved in the original banking system. So a lot of this is what people don't realize. This is just, we're making money from it, but at what cost? This is all part of that. I think we spoke about this last time as well, the cashless society, everything.
Yeah.
Blockchain is what will thrive. Ethereum in particular, I think is going to be a heavy fundamental part of our future in terms of the Ethereum blockchain and ecosystem. But Bitcoin's just a gimmick. Like most of the people that hold Bitcoin, they don't even know much about it.
Yeah, like me, I have no idea, but in it to maybe wherever. But like at the same time, like, I mean, if they will regulate Bitcoin, wouldn't they want to regulate Ethereum at the same time to make sure that that's also based on fees and stuff?
Potentially, but even Ethereum isn't really working right now. Like when we saw that crash the other day, every single exchange went down due to network congestion. That shows me the market isn't ready for mainstream adoption yet. Like we're still in that fabricated stage of hopes and dreams. It's purely speculation right now. And what does someone say about Omar, BTC takes you more than 1 hour to make a transaction? Yeah. And now all of these overnight experts, they're talking about like Uniswap, DeFi, all this bullshit. Like I had $200 in an Ethereum wallet yesterday or 2 days ago. I went to buy a coin on Uniswap as a tester. And for like $150 payment, the fee was $60. People just can't perceive this because they're so blinded by the whole crypto growth. The price of cryptocurrencies does not correlate with their actual utility and their actual value. It's people propping it up, and that's why it's going to pop. Crypto has become a bigger bubble than 2017, and now it's spawning miniature bubbles within that. You've got NFTs. Now every celebrity is selling NFTs. What the fuck is that about? Like, selling for millions is crazy. Like that's like the ICO craze of 2017 all over again. That's when you're in a bubble. And I'm sure you guys, I guarantee you, any of you guys have been outside and you've probably heard someone talk about crypto.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go now. Like, I went to the bar the other day, the guy overheard me talking about XRP. He's like, yo, bro, can you help me withdraw some funds from Coinbase? I'm like, what? I'm like, so you've invested money, but you don't know how to withdraw from the platform. Like that kind of just shows you what we're dealing with here. And I think the market's overdue a massive correction. And you even said it yourself. It was at 20K, then it went to 3K. Then it went to 14K, then it went to 4K. So why can't it go to 5, 6K? Especially when all of this comes to light and regulations come into play. And central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, we won't need stable coins anymore. These are just temporary measures. And these temporary measures is what's propping up the market. So when central banks release their own tokenized versions of fiat currencies, we won't need stable coins anymore. Forex will probably be on the blockchain in like 10 years.
Yeah, I think that's gonna happen here pretty soon because at the same time, like, everyone said, oh yeah, like, what, these cryptos are gonna be anonymous. And at that time I said that, okay, like, what, even if they're gonna be anonymous, look at it this way, right? If the bankers, governments, they all control the money, they will never let people have power of this. Never. Yeah. Right, and that's what's happening right now. I mean, they're heavily regulating it now with fees as well, because like back in the day, it was all like, oh, there are no fees, transaction system with no fees. Now, and as you said, like there are like small bubbles in this big bubble, and I think the reason why we have fees now is because a lot of people are invested in it now.
Yeah, it's easy money. It's such easy money, and people just have no idea what's going on. I love that whole idea of like, it's going to overthrow the governments. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. They're the ones that are in charge and controlling it. Yeah. Click a finger, they can ban it, and it's gone. Look at China.
Yeah.
They like China just roll dice weekly, and they're like, "Fuck it, we'll ban it this week." Then they change their mind again. They're like, "All right, we'll go back." Like they just sit in the boardrooms, roll that dice, and they're like, "All right, cool, we'll ban it this week." And that.
Quick question. Oh, Tory, my bad. What do you think that the fees have gone up so much in the last couple of months?
Allegedly, it's due to network congestion. So people are prioritizing. So the wealthy people basically have the advantage where they can just pay more money and get their fees done. But that's what I'm saying. It's almost a scam, this fee-based system.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
And dollars that I was trying to transfer, I only got 890 the day before yesterday. I was like, what?
Insane. I think the Ethereum fees went up to almost $900 for larger payments. Yeah. It's absolutely
something, right?
It's just spiraling out of control. And it's like what Raja said as well. You shouldn't have a bias. Like you need to just, whatever everyone's doing on the public eye, they say like 95% of traders fail. It occurs in investing everywhere. And that, if you look on social media or you look just around you, 95% are all doing the same thing. They're buying because Elon's bought. They're buying because the news has said 500,000 XRP or 500,000 BTC, all this crazy shit. You just got to do the opposite of everyone else, because whilst they're all making money temporarily on the bull run, they have no game plan for the bear market. So everyone making money now are holding unrealized gains. They're still going to leave the market empty-handed. That's why I always tell people, like, take profits. Like even with my XRP investments, I was continuously just scaling out profits at the highs, waiting for a crash, investing back in again. The aim of the game is to grow your holdings so much, you don't need to wait for that moon anymore. You don't need to just continuously plow money into the markets. The goal here is to, in what other market do you see like a 6,000% gain? If crypto wasn't here today and the stock and one of our stock investments, for example, went up like 100%, we'd be like, shit, that's pretty good. I'm going to take that profit.
Yeah, lumber.
You make 100%. People are like, no way, it's not enough. It's blinded people to just want more and more and more. And the greed is going to wipe a lot of people out. Someone mentioned in the chat regarding XMR. I don't know shit about crypto, but they say it's the most anonymous in the dark net. I love that when people say like, oh my God, this coin's private, blah, 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 blah. Nothing is private. You cannot escape the eyes of the government. Dark web marketplaces get shut down almost on a weekly basis. And how do they transact on those marketplaces? Bitcoin, Monero, Verge, whatever they're using, every single coin is trackable. They're busting pedophile rings, drug rings, like everything is traceable. Safe moon, stay the fuck away. Safe moon, stay away. Hype, 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 hype.
What do you think about USDC?
All the same shit. Apparently and allegedly, they're 100% backs as well. But judging from a bit of my research I've been doing over the past weeks, they've been artificially inflated and minted a bit more as well. So they're all the same. They're all the same.
So Tory, for the average Joe that has like $1,000, let's say, trying to invest in crypto, what would be your best advice? To wait for crypto to crash even more, then buy it if they want to hold longer? Or?
Yeah, 100%. You got to think of it this way. Most people are investing a few $1,000s or a few $100s, and they're going in, even at BTC at 50K, they're investing that capital because they're being brainwashed into believing they'll become a millionaire very, very quickly. The best thing you can do is not enter at all. There's a certain time and place to participate in the market. And that is when everyone else is so scared to buy because they've been wiped out. It can take a few months, it could take a few years, but waiting that few years will make you a lot more money by investing that money at the cheapest price possible versus trying to jump on board onto the hype, making that money temporarily, and then you're holding that significant drawdown, and then your unrealized losses are massive. I think the best advice right now is, doesn't matter if crypto goes higher, doesn't matter if Bitcoin goes to 70K next. It's not worth getting involved now at all.
Yes. Yeah, it's like the same thing as it's better to miss the move rather than to hold like a big drawdown.
Because
hey Tory.
Yep.
Question. So how you still making profits out of, for example, XRP when you change it to when you're gonna take profit, you have to change it to a stable coin. But you already explained how stable coins are just made out of air.
I actually changed mine to fiat.
Okay.
I use Kraken. I'll log in now and show you. Let me just hide it whilst I log in. I'll show you my Kraken.
Man, all these websites were down 2 days ago, 1 day ago, and I was like, wow, this does not look good.
Yeah, I think it was literally Coinbase, Polo, Kraken, Binance. They all went down at the same time. And it's like, if that is still happening at this stage in the market, are we really ready for mainstream adoption? Absolutely not.
Okay, so I was saying, you said that you don't believe in Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
So what do you believe in then? Since you're a believer in cryptocurrency, what projects do you think are good?
XRP is my favorite. Okay. One of my favorite. That's the one I've always stuck with. Like,
yeah, it makes sense. XRP.
Yeah, the way I see it is, you want to be dealing with the projects that are working mostly in the financial sector or the banking sector or cloud data, all of that kind of infrastructure. You want to be working with people that are working with regulated authorities. You don't want to be going for the projects that are trying to overthrow the governments. You don't want to be going for private coins because they're going to shut them the fuck down. When regulations come in, they're going to get wiped out. Like, at the end of the day, we're not going to escape a chokehold of governments and banks and all that stuff. They will always be in charge unless some kind of crazy revolution goes on. So your best bet is to work on projects and look at projects that are abiding by regulatory guidelines already. That's probably the most important thing to look for.
Yeah, so basically like XRP, Cardano, which is basically they have a project in Africa, and then you have Filecoin and Aui, which is basically like storage, that type of stuff, basically, right?
Yeah, 100%. That's the most important thing. You don't want to be the guy that buys into a coin that promises to feed like all of the third world countries in the world using their coin. Like, we know that's bullshit. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But something like XRP, a payment protocol, that's just common sense. It's very basic. And people look down on it because they're like, oh, it's centralized, it's controlled, blah, blah, blah.
Because of the lawsuit too, that's another thing that people are just afraid of.
Decentralization is a buzzword. There's no such thing as decentralization. It's all bullshit. BTC is the most centralized coin out there, and people refuse to believe that. If you see who's really in it, the hash rate, 80% of that hash rate is coming from China alone.
From China, yeah.
They're all under the same umbrella. Like, it's so heavily centralized. And you know, when you look at Elon Musk as an example, if one man can drop a tweet and allegedly crash the market 30%, how decentralized is it? How valuable is it? Is it really as good as they say if you can just drop a tweet and it can crash? It's just, you know, I really think people have just been so deluded to believe it's something valuable. What price would you recommend getting into XRP? Let me show my.
Thanks, Tory.
No worries.
What's happened with the XRP and the SEC investigation that they were, you know, doing things incorrectly with not being registered to issue new securities?
Yeah, so that's a debate that's been going on for a while now. They actually, there was an article I was looking at earlier. Judge denies Ripple's bid to bar SEC from seeking foreign info on XRP. If you look at the way Ripple have been operating, they've actually been trying to push the SEC before the case happened into providing regulatory guidelines. So it seems like at the moment the SEC have thrown them into a trap. I feel a lot of the stuff that's going on in the market right now is almost a distraction. Like, the SEC have taken Ripple to court, whereas people like Elon Musk, you've got Doge, you've got all of these projects doing crazy things. They're not being investigated for potential pump and dumps or selling potential securities, but then they're taking the real project. If anything, I think the SEC have taken Ripple into the court case or into a court case to provide an outcome that will result in regulatory guidelines. I think the whole agenda for all of this stuff is to get regulatory clarity on crypto. And I don't think it's going to end in a bad way. I think it's all for a positive. I think they need to end that court case to be like, okay, cool, we need to regulate it in this manner. We need to have this specific guideline. It's all about benefiting the ecosystem. We need regulations to thrive. You can't thrive without regulations.
Wasn't XRP going to be using the banking systems right up front? They're one of the ones that were ahead of their time, from what I was reading.
The Central Bank of England were test piloting Ripple and XRP like 3 years ago now.
Right, correct. That's what I thought.
So that's why I look at those things. I don't care about decentralization or not decentralization. It's all about what is very likely going to happen in the future if we go into a cashless society. CBDCs, Salim just mentioned, if CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, go into full implementation, there needs to be some form of payment protocol to facilitate the exchange between those CBDCs. So my bet's on XRP. XLM is also a good bet. I'm not a big fan of it, but it's, you know, all of those kind of projects, that's what we need to be looking at. We don't want to be looking at something that's going to decentralize the whole world forever. You want to be looking at what is realistically going to happen in the real world.
Yeah, and talking about the CBDCs, apparently the states has they were mentioned, I think it was yesterday, before they're gonna start doing some tests this summer to have their own digital currency.
Yeah, I think China are trying to get ahead of the game. They want to be the first ones in charge, but that's what scares me as well. Because if China are pushing CBDs, China are racing to be dominant in the crypto game. They already control the majority of BTC. And we even saw recently when there was a bit of a power outage in China, it affected Bitcoin instantly.
Yeah.
So we need to realize these guys are in charge. It's not really a decentralized ecosystem. It's fully in the hands of a select few entities.
Yeah. What do you think of VeChain?
VeChain, I haven't looked into it. You know, I always get a lot of people requesting things. Like I always get people asking me to look into this coin, to look into that coin. I really try and keep it simple. I don't want to be the genius that knows about like 1,000 different projects as an example, but I have heard of it and it is meant to be good. I've never looked into it properly.
Because I did my research and I invested in it personally, and there's a lot of good companies back in, especially in the States and even in Germany. And I mean, the idea of it is pretty good. So personally, I love the coin. So I just thought that you might have an idea on or an opinion on it.
Yeah. I probably will look into it soon. A lot of people have been requesting me to look into that in particular. People are always asking me about quantum. They're always asking me about some crazy stuff. But yeah, VeChain is one that continuously keeps popping up.
Have you heard of IMX? It's an up and coming IPO that's regulated they're working with the banking systems and finance as well.
An IPO?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I will look into that. IMX. What is it based on? Is it an exchange? Are they...
They have tokens and they have like a financial exchange and platform and everything for trading. They got a bunch of different things going on with plans.
Interesting. Even with IPOs, I'm a bit scared at the moment. Like if you look at Coinbase as an example, they've IPO'd on the stock market. They're still terrible. They're still terrible. The fees are ridiculous. They're always going down. They're randomly locking accounts. I think it's going to be a big shift. I think this crazy crypto growth is sparking that regulatory push now. We're seeing people make crazy money. The IRS, the HMRC, they're starting to enforce all of the exchanges to start providing information on all of their customers and stuff. I think all of this bubble is creating that push for the regulatory guidelines. And then we're going to start seeing better things happen.
One last question. What do you think about Theta and EOS? Basically, there are streaming networks.
What are they, sorry?
Theta and EOS.
Beta or Theta? TH?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I haven't really looked into those either.
Okay.
Just to be honest.
No, that's okay. Thanks.
I just wanted to ask a question because obviously everyone starts with zero information at the beginning. I just want to ask, how did you do all this research by yourself, and how would you advise someone to be able to find all of this information to make a judgment for themselves?
It's actually really hard to find information. It's all in the public domain, but it depends what information you're looking for. Like charting wise, if you know how to chart Forex, you can slowly figure out how it just slightly differs to Forex. Follow similar patterns. People will not actually research what they're invested into. They will just take the advice of someone else. Or most people, newcomers, they literally go onto a website. They see they've got a really cool website. They've got like some dynamic movements, shit's flying around doing backflips. And they're like, cool, this project must be great. But it's very important to look at things like, go on LinkedIn, see if you can find information about the actual project's CEOs, directors, potential partners. Have they been affiliated with prior projects that may have been a scam? Like, people need to have that initiative to really look into things deeply. You don't want to just go on there and be like, oh, cool, they've promised to change the world, I'm going to invest into this. It needs, oh shit, gold. There needs to be more. Did you notice as well when crypto crashed, gold instantly popped up?
Yep.
The minute that crypto crash happened, gold.
Yep.
Just,
yeah, you know what? When I first saw that, the first thing that came to my mind was that maybe all these big players, they're using gold as a safe haven against Bitcoin now.
Yeah.
Because it's so up high. So when this saw it crashing, they're like, okay, let's move our money from here back to gold.
Mm-hmm. Gold will be 2,000 plus very soon, I think. If crypto crashes, gold's going to go on another parabolic rally. Easily. Oil started tanking straight away. Gold started rocketing. And I think this already is a telltale sign that investors are going to shift back to the real store of wealth, which is gold. That's a real store of wealth, in my opinion.
Yeah, because this was just like a little game.
Yeah.
It's also a hedge for inflation right now with everything going on in the world.
They were just, Bitcoin is basically a prostitute that has been used and abused several times by very wealthy people who are intelligent, because they know it's not, it's not, is it really going to change the world? No. But is it going to pave the way for new technologies to change the world? Yes. But a real store of wealth is gold, not digital gold.
Yeah, I think it was a really cool story the way Bitcoin came on.
Yeah.
It was a really good plan that, okay, we got something that will change the world forever. And
yeah. The plan itself was genius. The idea behind it was genius. But that vision has been hijacked from a payment protocol to now a store of wealth. And that's why people are just buying it without thinking, because in their heads, they're like, it's a store of wealth, fuck it. Just keep buying. It will keep going up forever. But when reality hits and it probably gets regulated to shit, then they're going to realize the real store of wealth still remains gold. Oil, I'll be surprised if oil goes back to negatives again as well.
I had the opposite thinking. I was thinking that, as we're moving towards electric vehicles and all this stuff, I think oil is going to keep going up, and they'll really make it really hard for people to drive gas cars just to limit the demand of oil.
That's a very good point. Because I was thinking pretty much that, but I thought maybe that would just make oil useless and just almost no value at all. But that's actually...
In California, they want to ban gas cars within the next 20 years. Some new laws they put out.
That's what I was thinking recently. Like, there's no point even really buying cars now, because very soon you probably won't even be able to drive them on the road.
Yep.
Start over to like solar power. Once they can increase like the battery life and the duration of those electric cars, we won't need them ever again. Like right now, it's still a bit inconvenient every now and then to use an electric car, depending on how good they are. Teslas are obviously the main alternative, but once they're fully functional in terms of you can go hundreds of miles purely off electricity, we'll never need fossil fuels again, really.
Yeah, because if you look at it this way, right, the whole plan with electric vehicles is to have everyone on nodes, right? And what that's going to do is slowly, like, the cars are going to be communicating with each other and say that, okay, like, we can drive better than humans, right? Because we're talking to each other, we can like maneuver stuff. So as that comes into being, I think that will be the reason why they'll say, okay, like, you know what, oil, we got to limit these cars. So the only way to limit these cars is to make it too expensive to even use.
Yeah, 100%. That all ties into the blockchain again as well. We are getting into a system where every single thing will be tracked. It will be traced. It will be transmitted across the blockchain. It's like we're basically going to be living in an entire digital ecosystem within the next 10, 20 years. And that's where crypto comes into play. We're basically the beta testers for the current version of the blockchain before it goes into full worldwide implementation. Then you've got cars communicating with each other. There'll probably be robots doing our services and maintenance soon. There'll be no humans anymore doing that stuff. That's the way it's going. And literally the Matrix, Christopher. Spot on.
Hi, Tory. I would like to ask you a question. I don't know if you can discuss this or not. It's related to the previous organization you were in before the innovation markets. Do you think people are in good hands right now with those guys, or do you?
Are they what, sorry?
If people are in good hands with that community, to your extension, to your knowledge.
I'll let you answer that one yourself. I'm sure everyone knows the answer to that question.
Okay. Thank you anyway.
No worries. reassurance. Yeah. So I'm sure the whole community can speak on behalf of me for that one.
Yeah, that's a little delicate situation there we don't want to get into.
People always bring it up, but it is what it is. It's expected.
Yeah.
I don't think Tory knows what a delicate situation is.
So
stay away from drama now. It's all good.
Blockchain basically is, from what my understanding is, like you have a train track, right? And on that one train track, there are like multiple trains that can go on that track. Is that what blockchain is, where you have these different cryptos and they're like trains that they can move on that blockchain?
That's a pretty good way to put it. That's actually a pretty good way to put it. Essentially, there's obviously different blockchains for different projects, but then Ethereum, for example, you've got all the ERC20 tokens operating on the same blockchain. USDT operates on multiple different blockchains as well. That's all it's going to become. That's the stage we're getting to, where I don't think there will be one global blockchain. I feel Ethereum's has one of the best shots at being one of the most worldwide used, but I think there'll be different blockchains for different purposes, whether that's for payment, whether that's for transmitting data securely. There will be so many different blockchains that are being utilized. I'm trying to think what a comparison could be. It'll almost be like programming languages. It'll be like some people use Java, some people use C, some people like HTML. It will almost be like that.
Wow, man, gold really ripped a bubble over here.
Me.
Oh, you secure some?
Yeah, I secured some at 20.
I secured at 1883 and I closed everything.
Yeah, that's good, because we had a structure till, I mean, a small bump on the road 1883, you know, but we're finally breaking that high to the left, so it should be good. I mean, there's still some juice. We're approaching to the 1885s, so from there, you know, it's gonna be a probably rejection, because we already had rejection from that price, or even a strong break from there. And for now, what is basically pumping in this move is that the weekly candle still has some juice to the upside. So remember, on Friday's gold, you know, we already had the retracement on yesterday, and you know, some retest to lower areas. In a 4 hour, you will see that we retested it that 1860s, 1870s. So from there, you know, the price should easily continue to the 1890.
Damn, we were right about this wick fill too on the daily time frame.
Yeah, we talked about it on the stream yesterday, on the Asian stream, about that area 1885 to 1889, which is a major rejection zone. But this weekly, how it didn't have any retracement, basically to the downside to get that 1860, 1873 liquidity, and it just took off today. So
yeah, I mean,
now
makes
it's
sense.
that zone where we have to like be careful and take partials. If you look into the daily, you can see a lot of rejection from 1889 down to 1883. Yeah,
it makes sense though. Even though yesterday, after that heavy rejection from the 1885, 1884, I'm sorry. You know, I wasn't expecting that daily to reject that area. I was basically expecting the easily gold continue to the 1890s and even more. But now this daily grabs some sort of liquidity around 1870s, and probably we will see this weekly candle, you know, closing really nice above the 1890s today. So that means that on Monday we can easily have the continuation to the upside.
And hit the 1900.
If we hit the 1900s, I'm gonna clap myself in my butt, because I've been calling this 1900 in like 2 weeks already.
You're gonna clap yourself in. Okay.
Wow, man, this is a 50 pips at this point.
Yeah, beautiful. So there's some.
I did a kind of MAC entry before at the 1878.
Yeah.
When the pullback started to happen on the 5 minutes, and you know, we had this area. Hold on, give me 1 second there. Can we go to the 5 minutes, Raja, please? Thank you. So this is the area that we were fading on, you know. as long candles are closing, the bodies of the candles are closing above this area over here. This area right here was basically support, and all these candles trying to retest that low, you know, but the bodies of the candles, pay attention to the bodies of the candle closing slightly above the previous one, means that support has been established at that point, and we're basically just looking for New York push to break outside this area. And I was waiting for at least a 5-minute candle breaking outside this area, showing me that we already create support. And then at the break of the 15 minutes of the previous rejection, then you go for it. And then you know you have a structure to the left, this area that Raja has marked in here, the 1883. And then we're basically trading at 1885. That was my target for this move, the 1885. Because at the 1885, we already have rejections to the left, so can easily give you a nasty pullback toward this area over here before the continuation.
I got a question for the guest.
Yep.
Hey, what's going on? Just a quick question. For anybody who's new to you, can you just explain exactly what innovative market is, please?
Yeah, it's basically, I don't like to do self-promo too much. I don't want to make it sound like all advertising is.
Yeah, I get it. I totally understand.
We have a mobile app, we have a desktop app, we provide trades, guidance, analysis, market insights, videos, podcasts, books coming soon as well. Basically the full service for Forex and crypto.
Okay, I got you. Appreciate it.
I just want to say it without being like, we do this, we do that.
We're the best.
I don't like that stuff.
and it does you and Bernie, right?
Yeah, me and Bernie. It's myself and Bernie. Bernie handles Forex mostly. I handle the crypto side.
So what's the books going to be on? Like
Bitcoin and Tether.
Okay, Bitcoin and Tether.
On Bitcoin and Tether, and then from there I'll start going into like loads of different books. So we're going to implement a library into the desktop or mobile apps, and it's all about Bitcoin. Like I'm talking from potentially who Satoshi could be, looking at the initial key figures in the development, looking at all of the hard forks, what caused them, and basically showing how all of Bitcoin from basically since the day it was created, it has affiliations to the CIA. The SHA-256 protocol was actually developed by the NSA and the CIA. So it's like Bitcoin's core infrastructure was actually developed by those guys. It's just really digging into absolutely everything that no one else would look at. So beyond the whole idea of digital gold or this, that, it shows you Bitfinex and Tether are owned by the same entity. They are obviously the ones that are solely responsible for most of the market manipulation, showing you the affiliations with some of the Bitcoin devs with who they were affiliated with before, just really showing the true side to what's actually going on in this market and how, although it is very promising for the future, there is a dark side to it as well. And I think it's very important people know that before investing.
You think mining is still a thing at this point? Like where we are when it comes to coins?
It is for the big boys. So it's like if you've got like 10 million to get yourself a nice warehouse, a full-on mining rig, get all your GPUs.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
But, you know, back in like 2010, 2011, you just get your laptop, you'd have like 4 Bitcoin by the end of the day. But that's where Bitcoin is basically, again, as a prostitute, it's being prostituted by several different entities that are just passing her around. They're literally running a train on BTC by mining.
Can I make my BTC one of mine?
How do I make her a nun?
Yeah.
Yeah, how do I make her religious?
I mean, I don't have to take it for dinner or anything like that. It's just basically.
I think
money is my sugar mama.
It's not looking promising, I'll tell you that. It's basically a dominating game. Like they're literally gonna fuck her until she just passes. It's very horrific.
Another question, Tory, about the environmental thing about Bitcoin mining is it all comes down to electricity, right? But what about if you have a hydroelectric farm or something, you know?
This is what they're proposing, like solar power, like wind turbines. They're trying to, well, allegedly they're trying to decentralize the whole mining ecosystem more by setting up in different places around the world that are more catered to like wind power, solar power, all of that alternative power. But it requires so much energy and power. It doesn't matter what source it's coming from. It just doesn't seem sustainable.
Right.
question that always comes into my mind as well is with a limited supply, once that limited supply is actually out there, is it really, you know, it's almost like there's a hype at the moment because it's like a countdown to the final Bitcoin being mined. But after that, what do you do with it? What is there really going to be that much supply and demand? Like, it's all good. The best way I could put it is like holding, I don't know, it could be anything you hold really. Like if you hold, I don't know, a Pokemon card, a spoon, a fork, I'm just looking around me. If there's no value for that, if there's no buyer and seller that determines there's a value, once it's kind of died down, you're holding nothing.
Yeah, that's the scary part. This is what really scares me because back I had a lot of money in Quadriga Exchange, and that's when they went bust. You know, that went bust, and I was like, well, this is all imaginary. Like I had hard cash in this imaginary thing, and now it's just gone. Can't complain to nobody, can't retrieve it. And that's the one thing that really scares me about all this is like if someone has their all lifelong things, everything in this crypto world, what if it just someone turns the switch off one day, or the government say, okay, like, you know what, guys, that's it, show's over, circus done.
Yeah, and that can very easily happen, and that's what I think will happen with Bitcoin, because they're already pushing the agenda that it's used for drug dealing, it's used to buy child porn. Like it's already got bad affiliations, and it's only a matter of time before they regulate it and go, no, that's enough. Like it's used, it's making money, it's valuable, but at the same time, it's also being used for very bad things as well. And the argument is always, yeah, but the US dollar is used for even more criminal stuff, blah, blah, blah. But we're in an unregulated market. At the end of the day, no matter what we do, the governments are not going to allow random people. Like if you go on Instagram now, you can go onto the UK meme pages, you can go onto American meme pages, even meme pages are posting crypto memes now. And you can and you can see in the comments, people are like, it's crashing, I need to get involved. And then another random person will be like, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. Do you really think the governments and banks and world leaders are going to let these random people on Instagram just become rich, super rich? Of course they're not. They're going to fuck them up. There you go.
No, Tory, I think you're right. I mean, I've said the same sentiment too, and I think there's a cognitive dissonance when it comes to this. It's not that you can't make money, because I think we've seen you do really well, and I think you're one of the guys that I watch all the time. But this is like the pre-stock market regulation. There were people that made millions and billions of dollars without stock market regulation in like 1980s, 1983, 1984. And then the regulations came and it just crushed everybody. And there's such a cognitive dissonance with especially the younger generation, because it's like, I want to stick it to the man. You're not going to stick it to the government. Like I just, in the history, you just open a history book. When was the last time the people actually won against the government? It's a short-term win. Like, don't get me wrong. There's been instances where people have revolted against the government and won, but in the end, the government just, it's like on Billions, when basically Bobby Axelrod said, he's like, you don't basically try to put out a fire. What you do is you take away the oxygen.
Yeah. You cannot explain that any better. Like, do you really think buying a digital coin is going to overthrow the government? Like, do you really think that's your way of taking down the government? It's like, that's why I enforce, and I know you guys do it on your stories as well, taking profits. It's not going to be like this forever. You have to capitalize now, because it may turn into the stock market style movement where it organically grows periodically over time. But this is where you have to capitalize now, because this shit ain't going to last forever. And the funniest thing is when people say this is the biggest closure of the wealth gap in the world. We're closing the wealth gap. We're returning back to an equilibrium. No. If you're buying $100 of shit coins, you make a few $1,000s. The billionaires are getting even richer. If you think you're making money in the bull run, imagine how much money the big guys are making. So the wealth gap is increasing, if anything.
Well, yeah, and to your point too, think about it this way. When was the last time you heard someone who was a billionaire say, hey, this is what I'm investing in, and hey, you guys should get involved? Yeah, like, just think for a second why they're a billionaire. They're not a billionaire by telling you every day, hey, this is what I put my money in, this is what I'm doing tomorrow. And you've got a few people out there, and if you read between the lines, there's always a motive behind what they're doing. Like Elon Musk was the biggest wolf in sheep's clothing. Like I just saw it. Like I'm like, why all of a sudden are you talking so much about crypto? Like what's the idea for you? And it's like he knew. The other thing is too, his girlfriend is very cognitive in market cycles, spirituality, things like that. And there's a there a lot of the markets work on cyclical cycles, in terms of the moon, in terms of the way we get market movement. So right now we're entering like a bear cycle almost, right? With all the I guess you would say with the various equinoxes, right? So it wasn't a surprise when Elon turned around and said what he said, and Bitcoin, it wasn't Elon that dipped Bitcoin. I mean, obviously China had a little bit to do with it, but if you look, it sort of matches up along the lines with the market cycles. We had a huge bull cycle, and now you enter the bear cycle.
Yeah, and this is what I always tell people. So when with XRP, when it dropped down to 20 cents, when it was up at like wherever it was, 80 or 60 cents, I called that before the SEC lawsuit happened, because the technicals were showing it was going to happen, and then the fundamentals come out after as a justification for why that moved. That's how crypto works. It's like the technicals show you what's going to happen, and then they bring out the news and they'll say, oh, it's because of this. But if you just understand the market overall, there's a reason behind everything. Like you have to question everything that goes on. That's why people are like, fuck Elon, he's lost us money. No, he hasn't. You've lost yourself money for being an idiot. It's not Elon's fault. You're fucking stupid. The next, just use your brain. But that's the problem. Like, just to be real, 99% of the people involved in crypto do not have a brain, or if they do have a brain, they're not using it. And they, if you genuinely believe every single one of us will buy a coin, the whole world makes millions of dollars, we all live happily ever after, you're living in cuckoo land. You're in a different planet. It's impossible. Like, how can people rationally believe that they are buying into a market and all these different projects that the entire world is also doing the exact same of, and they're expecting to all just happily live and just make loads of money? It just fascinates me that people are so stupid, to be honest.
But you know what? To tell you the truth, I mean, I was, you sort of sit back over the last few years and you look around, right? Like you'll drive down the street and you'll be like, man, why are people so stupid? But you can't really confirm it. You can't really say that they are, because you had no real empirical data to confirm that people are stupid. But then you look at the pandemic, you look at crypto, and then you start to say, yeah, the world is pretty stupid. Like I would say, I would estimate about 70% of the world is just, a little bit off. And you got 30% of the world, and because it's just been confirmed. I mean, I look at the people that argue with me about wearing a mask outside, and I'm like, why are you wearing a mask out in fresh air? Yeah. Well, there's COVID, and I'm sitting there going, if there was COVID in the air, we would have all been dead already.
Yeah, just like people in cars on their own wearing masks. Like you're saving yourself from yourself. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you wearing a mask in the car? The only day, I can't explain it. I can't. The world's gone crazy.
The shitful of the world.
Yeah, and then that's basically my thesis, to say the world is stupid and they're getting set up for something even bigger. They're going to get hit harder. You got people promoting crypto, all these altcoins that have no intrinsic value, no utility. And I'm sitting there, you buy this coin. I'm like, but why? What does it do?
Yeah.
No, just buy it.
They don't know. It's going to go up.
Okay, so we have a legal Ponzi. Okay, perfect. You know what? I'll play hot potato,
Yeah, it's true. People are just sheeps. Like when people say like sheep versus wolves, you think it's just a funny saying, but the majority of people do just blindly follow everything. And the pandemics prove that. Like the vaccination push. Everyone, take the vaccines. You'll have your freedoms back. You'll go on holiday. Now in the UK, the Indian variant's going viral. Now they're like, oh, that vaccine doesn't work anymore, by the way. There's like, but what did you expect? Did you expect just vaccine and just continue with life? Oh, and by the way, you've taken that vaccine, but you still need to wear a mask. You have to be careful. Like, it's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous.
And then people justify it too. They're like, well, science is always changing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, okay. So every time science does something, I got to inject something into my body and hope it's the right thing.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly healthy right now. So why am I doing this to myself again? Like oh, but you're protecting everybody. I'm like, yeah,
No.
but if I had a car and I didn't wear a seatbelt, but I still had airbags, I mean, would you say the same thing? You know,
Right.
I'm like, sorry.
Yeah, the world's hit a crazy point. I think the pandemic's woken some people up. They're starting to question things a bit more. I think the more we go into more lockdowns, they'll probably realize. But I feel the pandemic, I feel COVID is real. There's obviously something out there, but I feel the pandemic is now being used to push us much quicker towards this entire new way of life. That cashless society, the digital age.
Digital, yeah. I
We're
agree.
being locked inside so they can do the work outside.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've told people. I said, you don't realize it's not that COVID isn't real. I'll never dispute that. I'll never marginalize the people that have died.
Yeah.
But the people that are running this game don't care about the people that have died. I'm sorry. And this is the hardest thing to talk to people who get emotional about this. It's like, if you go to war, the presidents of the country send soldiers to war.
Yeah.
They know people are going to die.
Yeah.
What do they always say afterwards? Well, you know, we're sorry that, you know, people died in the war. It's like, you didn't have to start it.
Yeah.
Oh no, but we did, and all these people died. It's like, okay, well, you basically sent people. It's the same thing that's happening now. Is people are dying because of government action, and then what they do is they blame everybody else. They blame their own people. Well, see, guys, you guys didn't stay inside, so that's why all these people are dying. You know, you're not practicing social distancing. That's why people are dying. What about the poor healthcare that was built on in every country? What about the lack of resources? What about the lack of nutrition? What about the lack of, you know, people exercising? What about all those things that help build your body?
Yeah. None of that gets pushed because that would kill.
What about the 8 million people without food in the world? We don't talk about that at all.
No, because there's no this is the thing. There's no money in feeding the hungry, and there's no money in creating cures. There's only money in prolonging things and giving, you know, I guess just keeping people alive, so to speak. You know, it's like, you know, you have an illness, yeah, just take this. It doesn't really get rid of it, but it'll subside it a bit, and then you'll just have to keep taking it, but we'll keep making money off you.
Yeah, you follow the money. Like, no matter what industry you look at in the world, you follow the money and you realize exactly why everything's happening. Healthcare is profitable for people to be ill. Why the fuck would you want them to be cured? You're making money off their illness. It's like cancer, in my opinion. There's probably a cure for cancer out there already. How can there not be? Billions go into cancer research every year. They can't find a cure. But the COVID vaccine, they whipped that fucker up in a month.
Yeah, that's what I found the funniest when they did that. I was just like, really? But it was a global effort, guys. It was, oh yeah, sure. I've heard that one before. It was a global effort.
Well, getting their brains together. Doesn't the vaccine take like over a decade to actually fully 100% be tested and safe?
You got to remember, cancer and HIV and all those drugs are the most expensive. Why would they want to get a cure? Come on.
Of course, easy. You milk that system until you release the cure and then charge people stupid money for that cure. When they do eventually release that cancer cure, God knows how much that will cost. And that will be the next agenda. A few $1,000s maybe for a treatment, a few $1,000s just for a tablet or a pill.
And that the biggest problem with that is because you have loved ones that pass away from these diseases, you have an emotional attachment.
Yeah.
And that's what really hurts a lot of people. And like I say, I don't discount people that have died from various diseases, you know, various ailments. Like I fully feel for that. But then you also have to question why is that happening? Like, we're in 2021. You're telling me, you know, cancer's been around for, I don't know what, 50, 60 years documented. You're telling me in this time we can put people on the moon, we can have you know, automated Amazon delivery, but you can't do this in science?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
exactly. Have you not seen those robots? What are they called? What are they? The robot dogs.
Yep.
Something. The company. I forgot the name of the company. Boston Dynamics. That's it. Boston Dynamics. Like,
with the police.
Yeah.
They got robots doing fucking backflips and dancing to music, but you can't cure cancer. Right. That's great. How does that work? Robots building cars, but a cure for cancer that's been around for years. Yeah, the NYPD they've started using the Boston Dynamics dogs. It's like got cars that drive themselves.
Yeah.
We're sending rockets to the to the moon. It's just insane. Like I struggle every day. I wake up struggling to process that life is real. I'm actually like just failing to believe this world is real right now.
I've just given up on the idea that most of humanity will actually get through this whole pandemic and through all of COVID, and we're just going to be in a worse position. And I mean, people turn around and say, well, you know, COVID isn't fake. No, COVID isn't fake. Nobody will ever dispute the virus. I will never dispute the virus. I know people that have gotten sick. I know people have recovered. I know people have died. But it's the whole idea that you, as a worldwide group, we're so passive in terms of just accepting what people say without questioning it.
Yeah. The amount of trust in the government's
Amen.
Media, like, it's unbelievable. Like, the flu rate, the cold and flu has dropped like 80%. No one's thinking, oh, that's because they're now claiming every single fucking illness is COVID. No, people are like, wow, the flu rate's dropping because COVID's getting worse. No, it's because they're diagnosing every single illness under the sun as COVID now.
That's exactly right. The flu is non-existent this year.
People that are dying from COVID as well, it tends to be COVID that's triggering the underlying issues they already had.
Yeah, the morbidity rate is about, I think, 90% when there's a comorbidity. So diabetes, obesity, you know, like any sort of respiratory problems, but they don't announce that because that's not a good narrative.
No, of course not. And that's the perfect word, narrative. Everything here has an underlying agenda. And it seems like some people are waking up, but it seems like the rest of the world, I don't know what it's going to take for people to wake up. Like, this could be going on the way things are going now for another 3-4 years, maybe 5 years. We could be in this situation till 2030. And I feel like even if that was the case, people wouldn't wake up. It's terrifying, really.
I think the penicillin shot took, I think it was like 50 years to develop.
Yeah.
That's like a simple shot, you know?
It's 50 years.
Yeah, like some weird, like exaggerated number for penicillin.
But that kind of puts it in perspective. Like, you know, we had COVID, the best scientists in the world got together and bang, we have like 7 different vaccines just overnight. And the scary part is people rushed to take it.
Right.
The craziest part for me was how, for the first time ever in our history, we had celebrities, influencers. We had they were literally capitalizing off using the new influencer age to push the vaccine. Like, there were influencers literally being like, go here, get your jab.
Right. Kind of like how they did with the Obama election.
Yeah, that was crazy. Even the current administration and that whole campaign, that was crazy as well. You saw like Ariana Grande, The Rock, like Kevin Hart, they were going for everyone they could. And that's the craziest part for that for me, isn't that people kind of look at that. It's more the fact that people actually, what the fuck is an influencer? Like, who are these people? How are they influencing? What is an influencer? Like, girls on Instagram posting pictures by the beach in Dubai, getting fucked by 7 guys. Like, where is the influence? Like, why are these people becoming the source of information that we abide by? I don't get it.
They want to be like them. They want that rich. They want to be popular. They want to feel the things that they can't feel.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, they've got model in their bio. We know you're not a model. But girls listen to it. And guys, I don't know who guys really. I don't think guys get influenced as easily on social media.
Looking rich, that's what they get influenced by.
Yeah, true.
It's weird too, because I've never understood why people would use other people who they don't really know as validation or sort of motivation. I never understood that. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I respect you, Tory, 100%, and you know, we talk all the time, but I don't know you from a hole in the wall.
True.
Like, and that's not anything disrespectful to you, but we've never sat down together. We've never hung out together. So, you know,
Sure.
I think it was basically back, I think 2016, 2017, when you came to Toronto, you know, I saw you for a bit, but you were like sort of back in the corner.
Yeah.
But it's not anything disrespectful, but it's just, people have to understand that you can have acquaintances and you can gather information, but at the same time too, it's not like your best friends or people that are in your circle, right? And that's what I always feel is like, why do people get, like, why are they so validated by others mentioning them or things of that nature when you don't even really know them? Like, I mean, you can talk to people and have a great relationship with people, but I mean, I'm sorry, I don't wake up in the morning and be like, oh man, I wonder what Tory's doing.
Yeah.
Like you don't do the same thing with me, but like we chat all the time and whatever. But then if you meet in person and you hang out and it's like, okay, cool, like you got a relationship and things like that. It's just, I think people have to bridge that. Like, you know, if you talk to people on social media, you still don't know them. You still don't know what they're doing or who they are. It's only once you start.
It's one big illusion, and it's very important for people to realize that. Like even with me, how do you know I'm telling the truth?
How do you know you're real?
like let's just say I show a supercar. How do you know I'm not broke? Like you don't know. Like people can very easily fake things on Instagram, and I'm not saying I'm faking it, but I'm saying as an example, people shouldn't be blinded by seeing like materialistic items or seeing a certain lifestyle. It's so easy to fake everything as well. And most of the time when you actually end up meeting the people you've seen on Instagram, they're not the people they are on Instagram.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing too. I've told people that so many times. The people with the biggest mouths are the ones that are the quietest.
Yeah.
It's really funny. Like it's honestly, you just have a laugh. You're like, all this huff and puff online, you beat your chest like a gorilla, and then when you come talk to me, you're standing there like sort of like cowering and just sort of, yeah, well, you know, I'm just trying to do things, and you know, like, I'm like, but what about all the arguments and all the fighting you've been doing online? And I'm like,
they're all keyboard warriors, man. They can't talk in real life.
Yeah, it's just really funny, and then people meet myself and they'll be like, hey, wait a second, you're like the same guy. I'm like, yeah, because I didn't grow up with social media. Like that's my personality. Like, you know, you just, hey, I'm outgoing. I'm an extrovert when it comes to stuff like that. I'm not gonna hide in the back. I don't care who you are. I'm like, I know you're not coming to like shoot me or something like that when you meet me.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's blinded people again behind a computer screen. I think soon Instagrams and all social medias, they'll be fully like verified. I think there'll be regulatory guidelines for Instagram soon where you'll have to prove who you are. I don't think there'll be fake accounts soon, which is probably a good thing. Like I always think in my head, like whenever I get a random DM from a brand new account with no profile picture, and they'll be like, fuck you, you don't know shit about Bitcoin. And I'm like, okay, that's great. But the fact of the matter is you've made the effort to make a new account. You've gone out of your way to you don't follow me, but you're watching my stuff. You've then DM'd me, which obviously happens a lot with many different fake accounts. In my head, I always look at that and go, I'm already better off than you because you've gone through all of that effort to project yourself online under anonymous account. But then in real life, what is your life situation? What are you like in real life? You know?
Yeah, that's the funny part too. Like when people make fake accounts or they spend their time doing things like that, I always wonder, it's like, I'm not that important of a person. Like I don't really have any power over your life. I don't know why do you think I'm that important?
It's great, but that's what it is. It's like they insult you, they say every word under the sun, they cuss you out, but they still make that effort to watch your every move and watch your post and critique every decision. So that shows they're obsessed.
Yeah.
If you've made that effort, if you don't follow me, that's one thing that always comes in my mind. If you're not following me, but you reply to my post continuously, or you reply to my stories or DM me about a certain post, that shows you're following me anyway. So you might as well just hit the follow button. If you're going to spend that much time on my page, you might as well just follow me and we'll be friends. But the internet has created a new age of people, unfortunately.
I can actually speak for Tory because we did business in 2018. And you remember me? And the crazy guy was actually Sean. Tory was the cool guy, level-headed, and we did a business, and there was a business that crashed on my end, but there was a lot of money involved. And Tory was the guy always trying to solve things, and he was the real deal because we know each other personally. And I saw his accounts, and I saw even Sean's accounts had a lot of money, I remember. But he was crazy, man. He needs help.
I think it's very important to, like, doesn't matter how much money you make or who you think you are, like, you have to treat everyone the same. It's like, I just find it ridiculous. You know, when people start making a bit of money, people just like, I don't get it. Why is there a need to feel like you're in a higher tier to people? I'm not saying Sean, or I'm just saying everyone in particular. I'm like, why do you feel the need to look down on others? Why do you feel the need to speak to people differently? Why do you feel the need to feel like you're the man? You don't need to be the man. Why does everyone want to be the man? You know, just treat everyone with respect. It's like, it doesn't matter if there's always sayings, isn't there? Like you treat the toilet cleaner the same as the CEO, and that's the fact. Someone's job title or income doesn't mean they're a better off person or a worse off person than you. That's why I don't believe in titles and shit. I don't like that stuff. Like,
yeah, I've always wondered about that too. Like, where do people have this sense of entitlement when they're speaking with others? I understand that people's time is busy, or it's valuable. But if I've always looked at it this way, and I've done that from pretty much day one. If someone's sent me a message on social media or they've emailed me, I've always taken the time to respond. And then people are so surprised, and I'm like, well, why be surprised? It's like, you've taken enough time out of your day to sort of show me respect, and you're looking for an answer. I mean, I can take 30 seconds out of my day to respond. I might not be able to sit there for 2 hours and talk to you because I'm doing other things, but I can definitely give you some insight and sort of help you on your way, or point you in the right direction for you to do some work. It was the same thing when I started in social media in 2015. I was messaging some of the guys that people have known in the industry for years, and they wouldn't give me the time of day, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, you're doing so well, like, why can't you just like help me a bit? And then I guess as my influence changed over the years, I still remembered that, and people are like, wow, man, I'm actually talking to you. I'm like, yeah, it's not a big deal. Like, I was out at dinner the other day, and someone's like, oh man, it's Ted. I'm like, yeah, hey, how's it going? Like, you want to sit down? Like,
it's crazy.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm just eating dinner. Like, I mean, if you want to sit down and join, like, you can. I mean, this is my buddy over here. We're having a good time together, and like, sit down and enjoy it. And it's like, people are like, so like, it's like, I don't know, people put other people on a pedestal, and I never understood that, because I never did that with anybody else. I was always just be respectful. I think that's what it comes down to. It's not you're the greatest person on earth, but it's just like, yeah, we can kick it and just have a good time, talk about things.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think people kind of have a different perception of fame, and I think having a solid Instagram following makes people think they're famous. So people will recognize us out in public, for example, and they might come up and say, hey, but it's like what you said with the DMs. I'm so busy in my day, I don't have time to get through all my DMs, but I will always try and get back to everyone when I can. And occasionally when like I'll send a message, I'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe you've replied. And I'm like, don't think like that. You shouldn't even be thinking like that. Like, I'm no one special. I am a human being just like you. But the problem is there's other people who receive those kind of messages, and they perceive that as like, yeah, I'm the fucking man. That's right. I'm famous. And like people start letting that get to their head, when in reality, you should be able to come up to me and say hello. I'm not like, why wouldn't you? It doesn't even cross my mind. Like, if I saw someone in public, you would just go and say hello. Hey, I'm following you on Instagram. Hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you. What's your name? I do that with everyone I meet in public. Like,
so do I.
Why would you let someone who looks up to you potentially come up to you and be like, I'm on the phone, can you fuck off? And then just like walk away. You don't need to do that. Just say hello, give the person a hug.
Well, and to your point, Tory, the reason why I think we both have the same idea behind that is because there's people out there that and people talk about, like, how have you become successful in business? How have you generated your wealth? Things of that nature. It's because I've taken that chance with somebody, not, just like, I think chance is the wrong word, but I've been respectful to somebody. And then, like a week or 2 weeks later, they come to me and they're like, hey, I have a business idea. And I was thinking of you because, like, you took the time out of your day to message me. And I'm like, okay. And then it turns out to be a really good idea, and then you work with them, and then suddenly you've generated income, or you've had a successful project, and it's like it materialized because you took 5 minutes out of your day to just respond, be courteous, things of that nature. And I think people have lost that. They say, well, like, how'd your network get so big? Like, how do your relationships get so, like, how do you have so many relationships with people? And it's like, well, someone comes up to me on the street and is like, oh, because they recognize my Tesla, right? Like, it's pretty easy to spot my Tesla, and they'll be like, oh man, like, Ted, what's going on? And we stand out there and talk in the parking lot, like, it's not a big deal. And then I get like a message like a week later, like, hey, can you take a look at this? Tell me what you think. And it's like, yeah, there's validity there. Let's try and do something. And it's people that have great ideas and they've researched it, but maybe they don't have the funding or they don't have the network to do something. And all you're doing is just bridging people together afterwards. I've done that over the last 5 years. I think I've created like maybe a dozen or 2 dozen like actual legitimate businesses for people, just because you're able to bridge a couple people together, be like, yeah, I know this guy, he'll work with you. And then, you know, because you have a good relationship with the other people, and they're like, oh, you know, if Ted says you're okay, you're okay. They're like right away, because of sort of the stature, it's like they'll work with them right away with no hesitation, because I've done the vetting. I've said, yeah, this person's legit, work with them, they have a great idea. And then it's like, you know, it just materialized out of that, just, hi, how's it going? Like, I've seen you on Instagram, I really like your work. And it's like, oh, okay, cool.
It costs you nothing to be a human. And I think people have let Instagram give them that false illusion that they are actually something better than what they are, or they are actually a somebody. If Instagram got taken down today, you're a nobody instantly. You're no longer a social figure. You're gone. You're wiped off the grid.
Yeah,
and that even almost kind of hit me when my Instagram got taken down, when I was going crazy on all the COVID stuff. When my Instagram got taken down, it kind of put me down a peg or two as well. I was like, 1 minute, I don't have those followers anymore. I'm back to just being a normal person in the real world.
Yeah.
And if Instagram was to go down tomorrow, a lot of people would probably end up committing suicide, because their whole sense of identity and value is built on Instagram. Like you mentioned the car. The other day, I went to London, and obviously I had the McLaren out. It was a nice day. And the car spotters are all around. They're taking pictures. I start talking to them. They were like, I remember you from last time. I followed them on Instagram. And this Arab guy came up behind me and he was like, I like you. You talk to everyone. And I was just like, why wouldn't I talk to everyone? If they come up to me and like, hey, I like your car, or I like you, like, what's your Instagram, or, you know, just any talk or conversation, why would you not say hello back to that person? Why would you not spend even 10 seconds of your day having a little conversation with that person? It's healthy to do that as well. And again, talking of networking, he ended up, by the looks of it, being a very wealthy guy from Saudi. And that connection was made purely from the basis that I was just being a normal human being, which I think people fail to realize now, that they've lost touch with that human being side.
Yeah, it is funny, because I mean, a lot of my connections in the finance industry and stuff like that have been those random, like, hey, you know, like I just, you know, I found you here, or, you know, I met you on the street. And then you're like, wow, that guy's pretty powerful. Like, you know, and the same thing, like I've had professional athletes message me. And then it's funny, because then I'm watching them on TV. I'm like, cool, I talked to that guy the other day. You know, it's you know, you get sort of starstruck, but then you know, you sort of pull yourself down, because like I've had some NFL athletes that I've taught how to trade, and I watched them play football, and they're like, oh man, you do so well trading. I'm like, man, I just saw you rush for like 30 yards. And they're like, yeah, but you're good at finance. I'm like, so it's sort of that back and forth where it's like, no man, you're good at that. It's like, but you're good at that. I'm like, I don't see myself as like a superstar, right? But that's how they view you. But then I see them on TV. So it's sort of the same thing. And that's humbled me over the years a lot too, because you have people from different industries now crossing over, because they're looking at like, hey, I want to build my wealth. I want to be able to, you know, have a life after sports, or a life after entertainment. Can you sort of point me in the right direction, give me some help? And you'll be surprised, the people that are already successful in their own, like, I would say, niche, they become super successful in everything that they do, because they have the same work ethic. And it shows across the board. Like, people that are genuinely successful can be successful in most things that they do because of the work ethic. It has nothing to do with intelligence level. It has nothing to do with luck. It's just a work ethic. Like, I remember I worked with a couple of football players from the States, and it was like they didn't message me for 2 months. I was like, oh, okay, I guess I gave them enough information. They came back and they're like, this is what we've learned. And it is like a whole dossier of stuff. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I wasn't expecting all of this, but yeah, it's, you know, it's very comprehensive, but it just shows that, you know, they understand like everything in life takes like really hard work. And it's really interesting to see that kind of result. And then you have people that complain afterwards, and it's like, man, like, just put the time in.
Yeah, I agree. I think, well, if you're considered successful, if we consider ourselves successful, if you look at all people in different sectors, we're all very, very similar people that have achieved good things in life or something remarkable. We all have very similar traits in terms of work ethic, drive, motivation, resilience, but we're just applying it to different industries and sectors. We're the same kind of person. We're just applying that energy into a different direction. But that's why there's almost a mutual respect, isn't there? You see someone that may be absolutely killing it in like basketball or whatever it could be. It could even be stocks, but we're similar people.
And I think too, the successful people that are genuinely successful are the most humble, because of the fact that you've worked so hard to achieve something, but you know what it's like to be at the bottom. Like, I know what it's like to be at the bottom. I don't want to ever go back there, but I know when I was trying to start out, or I was struggling with certain things, it's like, man, it would just be nice if somebody that was good at something told me how to do something. Right.
Mhm.
And then it's just, you just need that little push down the road, so to speak. And I've done that with people. People are like, I'm like, yeah, because when I was in your position, I know what it feels like to go around sort of wide-eyed and say, hey, I want to be able to do this, or I want to be good at something, but then I really have no direction. And it's like, yeah, I can give you 10 minutes of my time, give you some direction. And that's the reason why, like, on my page personally, I've done a lot more just in terms of giving people ideas and pushing them in the right way. I don't really have, like, I don't want to show my lifestyle. I don't want to do that to people, because it was never me to begin with. But I mean, who wants to see a 40-year-old guy, driving 3 cars, having, whatever, doing whatever they're doing, right? Like, it's I don't know. It's not like I don't have a bikini body, I guess.
Likewise.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like, I don't know. It's a different thing. So I think if I could show people, just give them personal life tips and give them information to help them internally, because I've been through those struggles. I know what a 22-year-old male is thinking. I'm 20 years older than them. I know exactly what they're thinking. But it's like, I can give you like the cheat code, so to speak, to sort of accelerate you.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's good to be very real to yourself as well. Like with me, I'm guilty. I must admit, I show the cars, I show lifestyle here and there as well. But I always make it very clear that it's not everything it makes it out to be as well. It's not what it seems to be. A good example is the car. I tell everyone openly, my car's on finance. Why would I hide that? Some people are like, they don't tell you that stuff. They don't tell you there's downsides to owning a car, as an example. My car's lost like 60K in a year. They're showing things publicly, but there's also being very real. I show things because I'm personally very proud of my achievements. Yep. That's just how I am. But at the same time, I tell people that shouldn't be what determines your success. You shouldn't be considered a success because you own a few material assets or you have some money. Even having a lot of money, in my opinion, doesn't really make you that successful.
No, it doesn't. And I know that firsthand, where you get to a certain level and you say to yourself, this is it. And people don't understand that until they get to that level. And trust me, when you get to that level of like any sort of success, you sort of sit back and you're like, okay, so now what?
Yeah, exactly.
And people that right now, like, the chat will explode and they'll be like, well, it's nice to have things. And it's like, yeah, I don't disagree with that, but you start to get to a point where you start achieving everything, and then you're saying to yourself, okay, well, what's next? Like, this really isn't doing anything for me. And you don't understand that. I mean, you obviously see that now. It's like, you don't understand that until you're in that position. You have to be in that position, because that is the feeling that you're going to get. You're never going to get that feeling until you're in that position. You'll never understand that idea until you're legitimately in that position. And that's why a lot of wealthy people, or people that have everything, are very unhappy because they haven't fulfilled themselves. And I always laugh because I see all these people say, online, like, oh man, if I had money, I'd be the happiest person on earth. I'm like, you probably wouldn't, because you haven't done a lot of work on yourself. The idea of being internally happy, having a good base of people around you, actually having good mental health, money's not going to change that. And the maturity level of people, when I hear them say, oh yeah, well, if I had 3 cars, a big home and all this stuff, I would be happy. Yeah. That's immature to me, because it's like, you don't realize that that's not going to change your happiness. You think it is, but when you get there, you're going to realize, you're like, I'm still the same person. Like, I still feel dead inside.
Yeah. I actually tweeted the other day, money will only buy you happiness if you're already happy in yourself. And that's probably something that I've realized, seeing people, all different kinds of people with money. If you're not, you always see people that are miserable in life and they go, yeah, if only I had this, or if I had $1 million right now, my life would be so much different. But it wouldn't be, because you would still be miserable deep down.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. Things would be easier for you, but you'll start to realize, yeah, what are easier for you? Okay, I can go eat out, I can go purchase things. But then I see stuff that I've bought out of impulse, and because I've wanted it, and it just sort of sits there, and I'm like, I technically didn't need this.
You get home and you're like, Now what?
Yeah, like it's great at the store. I thought it was great. You take stuff and you're like, okay, so now what do I do with this thing? And I think the biggest takeaway for people that are in their 20s, people that are young, is really do a lot of internal work. We're blasted by the media, we're blasted by society in terms of different models that we should fit or different molds. I think people have to do a lot of self-work and be totally honest with themselves, strip them down. And unfortunately, that usually only comes when you've reached a point in your life where you've achieved everything. And I think that's the wrong approach. I think if you do that before you achieve what you wanted, you're going to achieve your goals a lot faster.
Yeah. And I think there's a certain satisfaction, something that I've realized more recently as the more money I've started making, the more I've realized there's actually a satisfaction in not going and spending it all, but actually knowing you can buy it all and choosing to buy it all. If you truly feel like you want to go and buy it, you know you can buy it and you'll go and do it. But there's a certain satisfaction just walking around being like, I can buy that shit, but I'm not going to do it.
And it's almost like it's a freedom too. I always think of it as a freedom. Like a lot of people, they'll turn around and it's just not, it's not about how much you can spend, but it's just the idea that I don't have to do something I don't want to do. Yeah. And I think that's the bigger play. Like that, when I realized that a couple of years back, like I don't have to do something, that was the ultimate purchase. Because now I can sit back and be like, yeah, I don't really want to do that today.
Yeah.
Or, I want to do this today. Right. And it's not about, yeah, I'm going to brag or, I'm bigger than the next person, but it's just like, I'm thankful because 10, 15 years ago, I had to do things. I was forced to go do my job. I was forced to pay bills. I was forced to do these things. And now you look back, you're like, okay, I've got a little bit of option here,
And that's why you need to almost experience it. It's good for people to lose everything, to be broke sometimes, to suffer for a long time, because that's when you truly appreciate things. And you have to be happy with that. You're like, again, as I said, you have to be happy with yourself. But a lot of wealthy people, they make, let's just say you might be a millionaire. Let's say you go and buy a Ferrari. But if you're miserable, or you go and buy a Lamborghini or a Bugatti, if you're truly miserable deep down and you're using that money to only fill a void, you're not going to be happy, because then you're going to buy that Lamborghini. Then you're going to see someone has a yacht. And then you're going to be like, then you fill that void again, because now you feel like you need a yacht to fill that void. Then you get the yacht and then you're like, oh shit, now my friend's got a PJ. Now you want to get a private jet to fill that void. And it's just a never ending pursuit of misery. And you're continuously making more money to try and fill that void and make yourself feel better. But then you're wasting that money for no reason as well. You're making it with no outcome. There is no positive outcome to making money. But if you're truly happy internally, that money is just a bonus, that it just uplifts you even further. It's giving you the freedom, you're happy already, and you can spend it however you please, knowing you're buying everything for yourself. It's even when I buy clothes, for example. If I want to go and spend money on clothes that's quite expensive, I will do that because I want to do it for myself. And you'll get people commenting being like, you dress like shit. You've got rips in your jeans, did you fall over? And I'm like, I appreciate your opinion, but I buy this stuff for me.
Yeah.
I buy this to please you. I don't buy this stuff to impress you. I buy this because I want this for myself.
Yeah, and the thing is too, I mean, I think people have read this online as well, is we've been conditioned as a society to be a consumer. People have been told throughout their entire life that consumerism is the right way to live your life, because that drives the world economy. That makes the richest people in the world even richer.
Exactly.
And people don't realize that. And there was, I said this like a long time ago, because I read it in online, is the reason why there's a 40-hour work week is to drive the economy. If you look at your job, a lot of jobs don't take 40 hours to complete in a work week. Like obviously there's trades and skilled jobs that, there's certain hours that they put in. But if you look at the corporate world, like from a white collar standpoint, I used to work at a job that'd take me like 3 hours out of my day to finish, and the rest of the day I would be sitting around sort of hanging out. But the difference was, at the end of the week, you were so hungry to go out to the bar, go out to shopping. People turn around, the first thing they say is like, oh man, I can't wait to go on vacation. Yeah. And you think to yourself, like, why are you waiting to go on vacation? Like, why is vacation an escape from your daily life?
Yeah.
And when I read that, I was actually in Los Angeles at the time. It sort of really resonated with me because I sat back and I'm like, yeah, like for the longest time when I was working, everybody was always saying the same thing. Oh, I can't wait till Friday. I can't wait till I go on vacation. And then they come back from vacation. Oh, I need a vacation from my vacation. It's like, no, you've been caught in this cycle of the fact that you need to work. And then what happens is when you work for 40 hours a week or whatever job you're doing, you need to validate yourself for the work that you've done, because that's when you go out and buy the BMW and you go out to buy the Mercedes, because you're like, yeah, I'm good at my job. Look what I can buy. But then meanwhile, you're like, you don't realize you're still trapped because you're still doing the same thing over and over again. And the elite, the people that are the richest people in the world, you know, like the Amazon, you know, the whatever, the Costco's, the Walmarts, they're making tons of money off you because you have the need to satisfy the fact that you did something all week that you don't want to do, and now you have to reward yourself. Because if the work week wasn't 40 hours or you weren't working every day, there wouldn't be an urgency for you to go on vacation. Like you wouldn't feel the need for it. You'd be like, hey, I want to go explore. It wouldn't be a vacation anymore. It'd be like, hey, today's day, I'm going to this country to take a look at what's going on over there. Or I'm driving over to this city to explore for the day. And suddenly there's not a need to purchase anything because it's like, I'm comfortable. Like I woke up this morning, you know, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to the gym in a bit, you know, see what's going on. It's a beautiful day outside already, do my thing. And I'm not tired. I'm not exhausted. I don't feel like, oh man, I can't believe it's, you know, finally it's Friday. It's like, oh, it's Friday. Okay, cool. Like some days I don't even remember what the day it is. I've been on conference calls with people and I'm like, is it Tuesday or Wednesday? Like what day is it? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I compared the corporate world. It's pretty similar to the pandemic. It's almost the same practice of locking people down, restricting them from any form of kind of freedom, and then giving them that little temporary satisfaction, that little dopamine hit on the weekend. Go crazy, go crazy, go crazy, live it up. It's like you're giving people a limited window. It's almost like imprisoning them. It is essentially a modern day version of slavery. You're imprisoning those people in a cubicle, and then you're releasing them from their prison for a weekend and then throwing them back in on the weekdays. So they know they have a select few days and a select few windows in that week to do as much as they possibly can. And that's where they lose that rationality and they're like, shit, I'm going to spend it all on clubbing this weekend. I'm going to get some bottles. I'm going to, like, people are stuck in this mindset of, I've worked hard for this. I need to spend it now. I've worked the whole month for this. I need to go out there and spend it. But the only way you're going to get out of that situation is not being in that mindset from the offset. Like the way I got out of my 9 to 5 was not working on the weekends. Like people would want days off. Oh, I don't want to work on the Saturday. I don't want to take this overtime. No problem. I'll take it. It's fine by me because I'm not going out on the Fridays. I'm not going there to go to the pub or go to the club. I'm saving my money to get the fuck out this place, to give myself that freedom. Whereas most people, their goal is to work that whole month, make that paycheck and spend every penny they can. Yeah. Like, why are you working an entire month to potentially make £1,500 or $1,500, then go and buy $1,000 pair of shoes? What have you achieved and what have you gained? And who are you impressing? Because you're going back the next week to the same people you work with that are on the same salary as you. Mm-hmm. So you're not buying $1,000 pair of trainers or £1,000 pair of trainers or sneakers or whatever you guys call them over there. You're still in the same category as your peers. So you're spending the money that the same people around you are earning to give that false illusion that you are better off than them as well. And that's a massive trap people fall into.
And the other thing is the notion of being tired, right? So everybody comes home from their job and then the first thing that they do is they plunk themselves down on the sofa and they turn on the TV or they jump on social media and then they waste 3 or 4 hours like decompressing, as they call it, because they're exhausted from their job. And unfortunately, those 3 or 4 hours, that's your pivotal point in your life that you have to make a change. It's the same thing. Like a lot of times people ask me, like, I'll sleep maybe 4 to 6 hours a night because I'm busy doing things. And people are like, how can you do that? I can't do that. I can't function. I need 8 hours. I need 10 hours sleep. Yeah, you get used to the idea of that you need to sleep. But here's the thing. If you're exercising regularly, if you're eating super healthy, if you're focused on building, you'd be surprised. Your body is a machine. Like you can go 18 hours a day for a good 5, 6, 7, 8 days straight. And yeah, you might need a catch-up day where, you know, like maybe you show up on a Sunday and you're like, okay, I've done a lot of work over the last 2 weeks. I'm gonna take a break, because there's some days I just take a mental break where I just shut everything down.
I'm like that. I sometimes I drive myself into an overdrive where I'm forced to take a break, and I'm fine with that. But I think people are scared to actually. A lot of people discredit things before even attempting it. So it's like sometimes, especially in the beginning days, or if I want to get a job done, I won't sleep for 2-3 days if that's what it takes to get the job done. I don't know what the fuck's going on Raja's screen, but
yeah, but that's what it is. It's you get used to it after a while, where you're working on projects or you're working to better yourself. You start to realize like you need as many hours in the day as possible, and you need to make sacrifices. And it's the idea of like, when you come home at night, I know you're exhausted, but man, that's the next part where you have to throw in those extra repetitions. You have to get in there and you actually have to do work, and you'll realize your body will start adjusting. It'll take you maybe a month or two, but suddenly when you get home from work, you're like, okay, I've got like 4 hours of energy left. I can put my mind to something else now. It's the same thing for me. I thought it was ludicrous waking up at like 5 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning to start work. And then I'm like, it's actually amazing, because I can get most of my stuff done by 11 o'clock in the morning, and I have the rest of my day to myself, and I'm good. I end up going to sleep at about 11 o'clock at night. Sometimes I'll go to bed a little bit later, but I mean, for me, it's like I have such a magnificent day because I go to the gym, I'm able to go out, I'm able to do things, and I'm still working. I still can do other activities that I need to do, work, get on calls, do whatever I have to work on, but I've extended my day so much. And the other thing is too, if people don't do this, invest in the best bed mattress that you can buy.
Yes.
This is a secret that nobody talks about. People go and buy a bed, it costs them $100. You know, you talk about $1,000 pairs of shoes, spend $4,000 on a bed. Save your money for a bed and a mattress. You can sleep for 4 hours, you'll feel energized the next day. It makes such a big difference. And I didn't realize that. I only realized that maybe 3 years ago. And I was like, why do I wake up so exhausted after sleeping for 6 hours? And I'm like, this doesn't make sense. And then I realized, I'm like, man, I've got a crappy bed. Like, I have all these other things, but I have a crappy bed. And as soon as I changed my mattress and I got like the top of the line mattress, according to my, you know, structure, according to how I sleep, you know, suddenly it's like, yeah, I fall asleep right away because the bed's super comfortable. I wake up fully rested. And now it's like, man, I've got energy. And people are like, man, where do you get the energy? It's like, yeah, my bed mattress is super perfect for my body. It's not some generic thing that I bought at the local store for $200 just because I needed a bed. People discount that so much, and I did too. Your bed mattress and your pillow, those are the two things that you should spend money on. And I guarantee you it'll change your life. Even your pillow, you change your pillow, my pillow is $190, the pillow itself.
Mine's about that.
Yeah, like honestly, people laugh and they're like, that's so stupid, but think about it. Just go buy a pillow. You know, don't go to the bar one night, don't buy a pair of shoes, don't buy a shirt, don't buy any clothes, buy a really good pillow. And you'll see the difference, and people will be like, their mind will be blown. Like it's such a simple thing, but nobody talks about this stuff. Like nobody ever told me like, hey, you get a good mattress, you're gonna have like a really nice sleep. You see it on TV, people do commercials, but you're like, I don't know the difference between a nice sleep versus not a nice sleep. Like I sleep for 6 hours, I sleep for 6 hours. Like, you know, my body goes to bed, but then it's like you wake up differently.
Yeah, I agree. It's same as like even my desk chair, this shit was like £500. But that's the best £500 I've ever spent in my life, because I was sitting there on a bad chair, considering I'm always on the charts or I'm making videos or doing whatever. I was sitting there like compressed like this, like a thumb, and it takes turmoil on your body. Like you need a good desk chair, you need a good mattress, and some mattresses, they're like 10K. But honestly, if you've got the money for a 10K mattress, fucking get it. It will change your life. I haven't got one. But but yeah, a mattress is very important as well. I agree. Like you need to be maintaining your body in a very good state consistently. And that's even with me now, I've gone into intermittent fasting because I'm not as active as I was, because I'm doing a bit more work than usual. But you have to be continuously thinking about your health alongside pursuing money and pursuing success or whatever it is people are pursuing. There has to be a good balance as well. I think people just disregard everything and just focus on Money, 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 money.
I have a question, Tory, about crypto.
Yes,
Sorry
sir.
that I'm talking about something else other than the mattresses. Do you have you noticed that the cycles on bull markets and bear markets are shortening on cryptos, and like that's why I think, and also I noticed that because I was part of the guys that lived through the mayhem of 2017, where you remember that. And I noticed that Bitcoin topped, right, like at the end of 2017, then less than a month later, then altcoins, especially Ethereum, topped, and then the bear market started. But if you look at the charts, that already happened.
Yeah.
Like Bitcoin topped, did like another tap on the weekly. Basically, Bitcoin is bearish on the weekly, which is what I'm telling everybody. The people don't see it, but since I lived through the other cycle, I'm confident. Like, you just go with the market, right?
Yeah.
And when the Bitcoin topped, Ethereum now topped. So if you look at the chart, it's literally repeating the same cycle of 2017 crossing to 2018. But so my question is, have you noticed that now it's shortening? So now the bull cycle now lasted less than a year. Last time lasted less than a year, like 11 months. Now it's like 9 months. So it's shortening also, the bear and the bull cycle.
Yeah.
I don't know if you notice, or what do you have to say about that? Like,
guys, mind if I screen share quickly? Show the chart.
Raja.
Is that cool with you guys? Real quick. Mr. Rakeel.
We lost him.
Raja went out.
There's kittens. Probably gone kitten shopping.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you guys got the stream. I'll take it easy.
I'll quickly show. Roger, is it cool if I quickly show the Bitcoin chart? Roger.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh. Is that cool?
Yeah, man. Do whatever you want. Yeah.
Let me go to Bitcoin. In simple terms, Joel, let me just show you guys on the weekly for a second. First of all, head and shoulders over there. Very simple stuff. People didn't believe me before the crash happened of how Fibonacci's are so important in crypto. The easiest thing to do right now, that fib from top to bottom on the weekly, $8,000. Drive back to the highs, coming into this area. There's a CME futures gap at around 62,000, and there's a Fibonacci there as well. There's a gap that needs to be filled around 60, 62K. So A, B, C, D. Before this move happened, there was no Fibonacci kind of expressing the possibility of this. So when I was saying 5K, 6K BTC, before this movement came through, everyone was like, that's impossible. But now with this simple weekly candle that's come down, Joel, like you said, that now basically solidifies a very possible scenario to come up and then come down. And if you go to the monthly, you can see there's clearly trend lines in play as well. So if you look how it's just continuously done it every single time, this single monthly candle here, if you were to actually duplicate this monthly candle, right, and put it down to the wick, if this exact same candle was to come through again, BTC would be minus. So if that single candle can do this in a month already, it doesn't take much. We're already halfway there to come back down. That fib is exactly at the prior all-time highs. This fib is exactly at $8,000. Like, at the bare minimum, we should be seeing 8K. And people, how could you ignore that monthly candle sign there? And that's why I keep my charts, my candles one color as well. That alone should kind of show people what the fuck is going on. How could that be ignored? There's clearly something has caused price to crash after such a, if I actually change the color of the candles for a second on the monthly, the last bearish monthly candle we had was September 2020. So we have been continuously going up, 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 up. Now 2 months in a row, we have finally started to see indecision. Historically, every time we see that bearish candle on the monthly, we go into a bear market. So that there has now shown something has forced the market to come to a halt after a very significant parabolic rally. So if this monthly candle closes in 10 days like this, we'll probably see that retest over here, and this fucker's going down to 5K, in my opinion. But people need to realize the bullishness, that one bearish candle's finally come in, that's a massive telltale sign. It's happened here, and it's happened here. So, and there's trend lines over here as well. You could even probably do that. Bang. But that's all. I don't want to do like a market outlook or anything, but I think people are not looking at the charts properly, Joel, and they're not realizing that this is already a telltale sign that we are shifting into that bearish bias now.
Loading up on these
maybe
charts.
They didn't live through the previous market cycle, so I see a lot of memes, buy the dip every time someone sends me that. I said, yeah, I remember that. I remember those. 2018, I remember all of those, and I saw how over, almost $500,000 went to nothing on my end just because of the stupidity of just following the memes. So that's stupid.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. But that's what I'm saying. People that say buy the dip, hodl, they don't actually know what they're doing. Anytime these people see a crash, they're like, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. But they're not perceiving what the current market cycle is. They're not perceiving where we may be in the market cycle. They're not considering the fact that, I always say it doesn't take a genius to make money in the cryptocurrency market. A market that is predominantly bullish, you don't need to be a genius. That's why these random people are buying right now, because the price is only going up. Well, it was only going up. So they're buying and they're thinking, shit, this is just going up. This is easy. It's easy to make money in a bull market, but it's not very easy to keep that money after the bull market because no one takes profit.
Well,
everybody's a pro.
Well, Tory, I have to cut this short over here. It was really amazing having you second time around.
Pleasure as always.
Yeah, you're welcome. Everyone else, take care. Have a great weekend. Don't overtrade or over risk on what's left on a Friday. If you had losses, just know you can't make all those losses back in one day. It's never gonna happen.
Thanks, brother. Tory, it's been a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for the knowledge.
Thank you, Raja.
Thanks, Tory.
Take care, everybody.
Free Palestine.
Okay, perfect. Let's do that too.
Sounds good.
Those profits.
Thanks, Raja.
All right, everyone, take care.
Thank you. Thank you, Tory.